Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to our, well, I don't know. I just kind of threw this together last second because I thought our 10-year anniversary had passed, like, or wasn't ready to pass until like a week from now. So when I got an email from YouTube, they were like, "Hey, happy 10-year anniversary creating content on YouTube." Like they were like 10 years ago today, 2 days ago on the 19th. They're like, "You uploaded your first YouTube video, which was an unboxing episode of a Transformer Loot Crate box back in 2014." So yeah, I was like, "Oh man, yeah, I remember that being one of our first videos," but we deleted that video. Like there was a couple things we deleted because the COPPA thing kind of freaked us out. Like we were worried that a lot of those early toy reviews were going to pin us as like a kids channel. And it turns out that's not the case at all. Obviously, more adults these days collect toys, I think, than kids. So yeah, I just kind of got freaked out, and I think deleting a lot of that stuff also hurt the momentum of our channel. People were like, "Oh, you should have just privated those videos and not, not done that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I know that now." I was like, I didn't know that then. So yeah, I should have done more research before then. So anyway, I just wanted to make a video to see if anyone would show up. I mentioned yesterday on a community stream or a community post that we would do a live stream around this time. And I'm a couple minutes late, but I was trying to stick to my word because I feel like I've been dropping the ball recently on certain videos. And sometimes I'll say, "Hey, this will go up tomorrow," and understand that sometimes tomorrow doesn't, I guess, mean tomorrow for me, because I'll go, "Hey, I'll post this tomorrow. I'll post this on Tuesday." And then I'll lose track of time, completely by our switches and stuff. And even if I'm like on Instagram and I'll post a couple things, I still may not even always be aware of really what day it is. So I just want to say that up front. And hey, did you see that? What's up? Speaking of milestones, did you see that has just hit 5,000 subscribers? So if you're watching later on, if you're here now, whatever, like please go check out Did You See That? Click on his link, go to his channel, and also subscribe if you're not already. But I saw that post and I watched some of that live stream. I had a lurk, unfortunately, but I watched some of it and was like, man, I'm so happy and proud of this guy. Like when I first came across Did You See That, he was making content specifically towards Back to the Future, and then has since grown into like a more of a variety channel, and that's kind of the trajectory we were on here. We started off doing the Seek and Destroy show. And like I said, the first episode was unboxing, and it was mainly just toy reviews. I was reviewing Star Wars Rebels toys when they first came out, also Transformer toys. There was a lot of stuff early on that it was just toy reviews. And then Lego reviews, stuff like that. I did stop motion Lego stuff. And then I started working for Lego and was afraid I couldn't make that content anymore. So I only did it every once in a while with like permission, basically, or at least inform them that I was doing it. And so it's funny, all the things that kind of kept changing the trajectory of my channel. And dude, what are you doing with the, why are you doing that? Thanks to, you're a legend, man. Why are you donating, you jerk face? Dude, thank you. You never have to do that ever. And actually another cool thing that just happened recently because of you and because of Carrie and people in our last stream that we did, the Venom vlog, we did a live stream a couple weeks ago. You guys actually contributed money and did super chats and stuff, and those pushed us over the $100 marker, where we actually are going to get a paycheck written out to us or deposited from YouTube because of you guys. Because we were teetering between like $50 and $60 for a long time. Like we were just getting like pennies on views because we don't get a lot of views on the channel, and it was just like we weren't going anywhere. And then Into the Depths like shared our Batman video, and that boosted up views on that episode, which wasn't monetized, I don't think, at first. And I was like, oh, I better click monetization onto that if we're going to get views on there. And I did, and so a little bit came in from that, and I was like, all right. So I started to see us move, and then other views to other episodes, people branching out, checking out other stuff, and then I was making more Venom content again, and it was just like a slow build to that $100, and then we got stuck again, like around $88. And because of you guys, you helped push us. So thank you so much. I am thinking of a couple things to do. I already, before that, like I've already been upgrading the channel, like with this new webcam and a new light, and then another new light back there you can see, and then also like a new desk. Like, so I already kind of improved the things I wanted to improve on the channel. So I'm kind of iffy, but I think I'm going to put that $100 towards getting a new dog. I was like, what would really help not just my channel, but like my life in general with that $100? And I think that that'll help any initial fees for rescuing a dog. So I'll get that money at the end of July, and probably sometime in August when we're kind of wrapping up therapy, I'll probably, that's when we're probably going to get a new dog. So thank you. I think that money will go towards that and help those initial fees if there are any, and initial food, like, and shots, anything like that. It'll go towards that, and then I'll pitch in obviously too. So I just want to thank you. Did you see that for contributing, and everyone who did, and whoever just watches the channel, just watching. Like I said, it's pennies per video sometimes, but those pennies add up. And so I just want to thank everyone for taking any time out of your day to watch this channel and watch the stuff I make. It means a lot. And now you are helping me and helping us as a system do something that'll really improve our mental health, which is have someone to care for, like a new pet. So thank you. I'm very grateful, and we will update you guys as soon as that money comes in, and as soon as we start looking at animals again. I'm too afraid to go look at the websites right now. I know Blue has been looking, but I'm a little too afraid to look at the shelter and their Instagram posts, because I know I'm going to see a story on there that's going to really tug at my heartstrings, and I'm going to go now, but financially wouldn't be responsible for us to go now. So hey, Swordsman, hey, look at this. Dude, I'm glad I got to catch you live. I know it's not a Venom vlog episode, but we can talk about anything. Basically, this is 10 years of being on YouTube. This is 2 days later of our 10th anniversary of uploading our first video back in 2014. And then in 2 years after that, in 2016, was our first upload to Twitch, which was a Resident Evil stream. And I'm sorry, I'm a little parched. I haven't eaten or drinking anything today, so I got some water here. So forgive me. I actually have a thing. I don't know if I told you that, guys, before, that I have a thing against eating and drinking on camera. When you're doing like a show, I just have this thing against it. But sometimes, like, I know the mouths get dry and stuff. And I started this at the worst time. I was like, man, I should have had some water before I went, on. But I don't always get to choose, sometimes. But yeah, thank you. So forgive me for drinking. But yeah, thank you. It's the Venom vlog, came in later. Like, when did I start that? Like 2018. So at that point, I was, when I started the channel, like I said, it was toy reviews. And then I would do this thing called, and Seek and Destroy would be 3 reviews. So I would take like a toy, a movie, or a TV show, or a comic, and I would review 3 things in the episode. And I kind of structured it like a show, where I would do a quick 5-minute intro, and then I would do like, all right, here's a 5-minute review of this, 5-minute review of that, and then the episodes would be around 20 to 30 minutes roughly. And I did that for a while. And so the Seek and Destroy show, that's what started this whole thing. And then I just felt like I just didn't have the money sometimes to buy all this stuff. Like in the beginning, it was just stuff I had, except for like Loot Crate or something like that. But I'm like, oh, I have this toy, I could review this or whatever. Or if I did something at work and I got like a bonus, I'm like, all right, I'll buy this toy and review this. And then it just got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm hurting a little bit for money. I have to move again, and or Echo needs more money right now. So I have to trim down on some of the spending. And then I'm like, well, I really like Tom Hardy, and I just saw a video of him working out as Venom. Maybe we'll just lean towards that, and I'll just talk about the movie, and that way I have that to balance. So I can still buy stuff occasionally to do Seek and Destroy episodes. But then for Venom, if we just do a show just about Venom and Tom Hardy, I can just follow him as an actor, and and him in the making the movie and stuff, and that'll kind of balance out the spending. And it did, and it was great. But then I ended up spending buying Venom stuff to review. But I was smart a lot of times. I would wait for things to go to Comixology on sale and get them for like $2.99 for a graphic novel and stuff. So I was smart with it, and also that let me get high res scans of them because I could do screenshots on my phone. Hey, Eric, what's up, dude? Always stay hydrated. Thank you. Happy 10 years. Thank you, Tevia, man. I appreciate it. And Tevia, another great, video maker and content creator on this platform. So please subscribe. Did you see that, Tevia? Like, subscribe to these guys. They're amazing. And Swordsman, I'd be curious to see you make content one day, to be honest. I love your opinions. You're very passionate about your opinions. And I would subscribe in a heartbeat. So I don't know if that's ever in your wheelhouse or something you want to do, but I encourage it. I think you're awesome. Every time you leave a comment, like Tevya and other people, like you add a lot to the conversation. And I love when you give like paragraph reviews of stuff and detailed thoughts on things. Like you're a really smart and aware person when it comes to like story structure and character, and I'd watch your content religiously for sure. And Tevya, a lot of people I watch like Tevya, and I just have on in the background. And there's been times where like we'll switch, so I'll have something on in the background. I'm listening and I'm doing something, and then I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel kind of like I'm woozy, and I need to go to sleep, and I'll lean back and just kind of in the chair, and Blue or someone will come out and they'll see your content and they're like, oh, okay, and they'll still give a thumbs up if one hasn't been given yet, and they'll still comment, although they might sound a little different than me. But usually they'll Blue lurks a lot. He watches a lot of YouTube. Um, so yeah, so whether it's me or Blue or someone, like your content will be watched. We may not always comment in a live stream, but we try our best. But you're welcome anytime, Tevya. And actually, I got to watch your solicitations video that you just posted. I saw your post for that. So, and I like that you tagged me and stuff. It means a lot. Like you were like, hey, I think Seek would contribute to this conversation, and you'll tag me on Twitter, which is awesome. Even though I'm rarely on Twitter, I usually go on there and I'll retweet a thing or two. And I know Blue will go on there sometimes and retweet a thing or two. So sometimes you might see like a lot of Marvel versus Capcom retweets, and then you'll see some other retweets where you're like, what? So yeah, that's just so I just told him, I was like, don't do car crash stuff, because on his Instagram he watches a lot of like road rage car crash videos, and I'm like, don't do that on our Twitter, because I don't want to start seeing that stuff in my feed. I get queasy, depending on the car accident. And he doesn't look for like bloody stuff or nothing, but just sometimes it happens. So I'm like, yeah, stay away from that. Swordsman says, hold on, I'm going to start clicking some comments here. Thank you. I'm too introverted to do a full channel myself. I'm fine with just talking and come on occasionally. Well, you're awesome. And the door is always open if you ever want to do I know you said you're an introverted person, but if you ever want to come on and on this channel and do a Parasite podcast or something and chat with me, and we don't have to do face reveals. Like we have a couple people that I block their face when I do those episodes. So the offer is always on the table. Well, maybe not always, but because I don't know if I'll always do. Like when we hit episode 900, I'm pretty sure we're going to end the Venom vlog. I'll just be honest. Like I'll still talk about Venom from time to time after that, but not often. But Seek at Night is a nice, more like I could talk about anything kind of show, like Seek and Destroy was. And we've already pumped out like 60 or 70 episodes of Seek at Night since February 1st. So like we're really on a roll with that, and we're talking a lot about Moon Knight. We did a lot of unboxings. We do reviews, video game stuff, following the Blade game, because following the Blade movie is pointless. So we got to follow the video game, because there's actually, even though there's less updates for that, at least there's actual footage of things for that game, as opposed to, or at least concept art and stuff. So I know they're pretty early on in development, and we probably won't get that game until 2025 or 2026. Around the time of the movie, probably, if they ever get off their butt and make it. But yeah, that's a whole another conversation. I'm really upset about the lack of Blade. It's bothering me, and especially considering it's supposed to set up a corner of the Marvel universe that deals with the Midnight Suns. It's like, dude, get on it already. Like, and to me, you already started with Werewolf by Night. If they did another like special like that with Ghost Rider, and then did another special like that with Blade, then that's it, man. There's your three. You get Werewolf by Night, Elsa Bloodstone, Man-Thing, Ghost Rider, Blade, and throw Moon Knight in there if you want. And then bam, you got your Midnight Suns. Like, so to me, I'm like, you don't need $200 million for a Blade movie. I don't think you do anyway. So yeah, Tevya says, yeah, especially after the whole Benny stuff, which still breaks my heart. I saw that. Someone asked me, they're like, hey, you didn't post about Comic Storian. And I said, I didn't watch a lot of his stuff. I am aware of who he is, but I thought it would be disingenuous of me to like make a post about it. So my thoughts and my heart goes out to his family. And that was a horrible tragedy that happened. I saw that it was like just like an accident, like a car accident or something. And that's heartbreaking. And that's awful. But I don't even know if I've mentioned him on this channel. Like that's how little I was aware of his stuff. So, but it's not to discredit him. Like he's just one of those pocket. I think he like read comic books and did voices and stuff, which sounds awesome. But that's just not the kind of content I watch when I talk when I look for content on YouTube for comic book stuff. I like looking for Tevia or people who are like the content I'm making where I'm talking to the camera. And I think he did that at times too, but I didn't see enough of it. So but I did hear that, and that was heartbreaking. And I saw a lot of cool posts from comic book creators who came out and said that they were heartbroken over the news and stuff. And that was cool to see because, that guy seemed very positive, and he seemed like he made a really positive impact, not just in people's lives who watched his stuff, but just on the comic book industry in a way by, making other people more aware of stories and comics and characters that they may not have been interested in before. And that's huge. I mean, that is so huge. So I'll never, even though I didn't watch a lot of his stuff or hardly any of his stuff, I'm still aware of his impact and even more so now after seeing all those posts about him. So yeah, that was heartbreaking to see though. I mean, on a level I'm like I don't know the guy, but that's sad, and I feel sad for his family. But that was all the reactions. There was a lot of positivity afterwards. So so I hope his family and everyone is, I hope they're doing okay. Grief is a crippling and awful thing, and it hurts a lot. So, but he seems like the kind of guy that wouldn't want you to be sad that he's gone. Just from the posts I saw afterwards, like he seemed very positive. And so, so hopefully people are just going back and watching his videos and enjoying them. And I'm probably going to go check out a few now myself, because when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I should have probably paid more attention to this guy. He seemed like a really cool guy. So, but thanks for posting about that. Yeah, at this point, Blade, a difficult shift here now. But Blade movie at this point, I hate to say, should be canceled. Yeah, probably. I mean, at least this iteration of it with Mahershala Ali, that probably is so. Yeah, it sounds like doesn't have to be Venom. I just comment more since it's what I know more. I still watch the content normally. That's kind of you. I mean, like, and someone said that to me. They're like, hey, I don't watch. I mean, I don't comment a lot. I said, that's okay. Like, I'm like, I do that too. That's the kind of viewer I am on YouTube. I'll watch a lot of stuff, and so does Blue. And it's rare when we comment. It's because usually someone else already commented what we were going to say, or the video, if we wait 10 or 20 more seconds, the person making the video says what we were going to say anyway. So to us, like, we're kind of the same. We're like, oh, okay, we can't add anything else, so we'll just watch and give a thumbs up. Usually we just thumbs up a lot, like that's kind of our thing. Yeah, Ghost Rider would be cool. I mean, like, he is such a visually awesome character. I love Ghost Rider, as you guys know. I have a video coming up, so I had to sell my Ghost Rider collection, and it was to help pay for Bill's post Ace passing away, and that video I've been working on for a while, and it's basically just me going through the collection and talking about why I love Ghost Rider, with some cutaways of me going through the collection and boxing them all up, getting them ready to go sell. So you'll probably, I don't know when you'll see that video, but I mean, I filmed it months ago. So I have a lot of stuff like that. There was stuff right before Ace passed, stuff right after Ace passed that I filmed that I every time I go to edit, I clam up. I'm either thinking of Ace or I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just like emotionally, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this right now. There was a Linkin Park video I've been making, because I have all the vinyl records that Linkin Park has released, especially the recent ones where they did the box sets. And I'm doing unboxings of those and stuff. And I filmed like a whole, probably like 3 or 4 videos of unboxing Linkin Park stuff. And I haven't shared any of it yet. And it's just all sitting on the computer waiting to be edited. Or finished edited, some of them, because I started. But you see Ace in the background of some of the videos. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's something about seeing him again, like, makes me turn and go, hey, Ace, and then he's not here. And I'm like, so for those reasons, I haven't got to him yet, but I will. I mean, it takes time sometimes with me with that kind of stuff, but I will. Here we go. Sorry. Swordsman, especially if they weren't afraid to tackle the angel stuff. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to get into some of that. I would like to see them deal, because Ghost Rider typically is just like, oh, it's him fighting demons and stuff. But yeah, bring in angel stuff. Like Ghost Rider is, and like, it's so comparable to Supernatural. Like, it's if you get Johnny Blaze and Dan Ketch It's basically two brothers fighting demons and angels and stuff. You could do a show. You could do a live action Ghost Rider show and just and just pepper in when he becomes Ghost Rider throughout the show, to work on budget. But I mean, Ghost Rider works. Like, he just works. If you do get some good writing, people overlook some of the visual lapses if it's a show and it doesn't have the like movie quality. But even movie quality is not movie quality anymore. So I say just roll your dice and do it as a show at this point. And then, yes, rest in peace. Thank you, Swordsman. Thank you. Tevia says, yeah, I was devastated to hear that he was gone because he was a great person and a great friend, which while I didn't get a chance to meet him in person, I was able to talk to him Twitch TV. That's the thing is, like, I always wonder that, like, this, one of the reasons I started this channel, this is actually probably interesting to bring up. And thank you. Hello, 8 people that are watching, and thanks for the thumbs up. And I appreciate you guys being here. One of the things that got me started on the show was I started getting, like, battling health issues with, post aneurysm, having troubles, self-deletion attempts. And I saw this guy named the Ragin Nation, Alex, a very positive guy on YouTube who made Transformer content. And he actually inspired me to start making videos. And I thought, well, this is cool because now I can have on this website, like, just snippets of me happy, like proof that I know how to be happy, proof that there are topics out there like Transformers or comic books and movies that make me happy, like genuinely happy, like that will pull me out of these funks, even if only briefly, to smile and not be a fake smile. And I thought, well, this would be good because at that time me and my mom weren't talking that much, and I was like, this is something she could maybe go to and see that even if I fight my demons, there are times where they didn't beat me, and there was like proof of it, So to me, that's what ended up happening is I made connections with people like you made with Benny, and that's like the point I'm trying to make is that, like, now I think, like, I don't want to die because I'm not done doing this thing, and I keep adding stuff on. So Venom Vlog may be the end of one chapter, but Seek at Night hopefully is the start of the next chapter. And it's kind of changed my perspective in a more positive way, even though I still have my moments where I'm down at the bottom, especially if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that at times. But to show that I'm still fighting, and so it's cool that you got to connect to them like that. And I feel that same way with you guys. If I heard any news about any of you, and I'm sure vice versa, we would feel something. And that wouldn't be possible without YouTube as a platform and without, me, I guess, at one point saying I got to get online and make friends and connect with people. And I know there's parasocial relationships. I don't like to go down that route. Obviously, I'd like to have a respectful distance between people, but that doesn't consider you guys my friends. You're the only ones who I really hang out with. I don't really go out anymore. I did in LA a lot. I would go to events and stuff, but now there's just too many obstacles where I wouldn't feel safe. Like, if I don't feel safe driving, I don't drive anymore. I'll stay inside because we might switch or something might happen. So there's that. And then we try not to DoorDash because I don't want to eat bad food all the time, and Green won't let us eat bad food all the time. So even if I DoorDashed one day and the next day I was thinking about it, he might take over and just cook something healthy that we could all eat. So yeah, it's our life is very different than when we started this channel. But that's another point I wanted to bring up. But also what you brought up about connecting with Benny is, I feel the same with you guys. I feel like I connected with a lot of you guys. 10 years. Hey, Tom, what's up? I hope so. And honestly, I hope his wife's doing okay. I hope so too, for sure. I hope his whole family and all of his close friends, and even you, everyone who felt the impact, I hope you all are doing okay. So Tom says 10 years. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, man. When I knew it was coming, I just didn't know. I thought it was like next week sometime. So when I got the email 2 days ago from YouTube, they were like, hey, congrats, 10 years on since your first post. I was like, wow, that's wild. I've been on YouTube since 2011, I think is when I created the account, because post aneurysm, like, I had a friend that was showing me stuff on YouTube, and like, I think like a full 6 or 7 months later, I was finally like, all right, I'll create an account. instead of just lurking and watching videos. But I used to watch videos that would crack me up and make me laugh, like the Rad Anthem. If you've never seen that, that was one of the first things I think I saw on YouTube post ANEURYSM. Was it was a bunch of comedians like Nick Swartzen and a couple other people. I think Dax was not Dax, but there's a couple people, and they all dressed up as the fast food mascots like Ronald McDonald and Wendy and all that stuff. And they just were. It was a music video to a techno song, and but the video is hilarious. So I don't know. I and it was them in LA, and I was like, wow, that's where we used to live. In our journals, there was all these stories about LA, and that's when I realized, okay, I better go back there, because it sounds like there will be people there that they were happy I was still alive, and they were like, come back to LA, come back, like we'll take care of you, we'll help you find work, and it was really awesome. That I had that big of a safety net. I didn't realize we made that much of an impact pre-ANEURYSM, and turns out old us only told a couple people, like a very few amount of people, about our condition. And here this whole time I had no idea. Like the whole time when I lived out in LA, had no idea. But most of those people moved away. So when I got out there, I was like, oh, but I still had other people like Todd and Jamie and everyone that we used to live in the house with, Kenny and stuff. A lot of them, Charlie, like those guys, were still there, and they were, they knew me from before. So they helped me find work at times, and they helped me crash on their couch for a couple weeks until I found my own apartment. And my friend Josh, who lives here, he now and was before, knew me before living here, I guess, 20 years ago. He gave us his old apartment out there. So like, it's just awesome, like how everybody helped us. And I'll never forget that. Like I'll never, even though it would mean more to the old me when he finds out, hopefully one day, but even to me, it meant a ton for those people, because to me, they were strangers in a lot of ways. And I just had to I was reading through these journal entries where they were mentioned. I'm like, okay, I feel like I kind of know something about them that I can start a conversation with. And I kind of just did that when I moved back to LA. But yeah, so 2011, I started watching YouTube videos with an account. But I was watching YouTube before that. And then in 2014, 3 years later, I uploaded my first video. Eric says, development hell is where Blade will be for a long time. It sure will. And Eric is also a big Transformer fan. So I know that's another shift. Like I understand sometimes. I had someone, what was it, like a year or two ago say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm actually going to unsubscribe to you. And I said, oh, that's okay. Like, thanks for reaching out to me. That you didn't even have to do that. I would have never really known. And I said, what's the reason? Like, you just, some content you make, it's not like what I signed up for when I first started following you. And I was like, hey, that's okay. Like, and I understand these things happen, but that was cool of you to reach out. And they still follow me on Instagram, so they still keep in touch, which they didn't have to do that either. But that was really cool. And I'm like, all right, well, that's fine. Like, I get it. I dropped doing Transformer content, and I know that for a long time I was doing Transformer content. So people, some of them felt like I, not betrayed them in a way, but they just felt like, oh, okay, he's gone away from that. And it's like, yeah, it's true. It's just money and also moving from LA to here sucked with the amount of crap we had. So I'm just trying to get it to where now if we move again, we just have a lot less stuff. That's what I'm hoping for, especially if we go back to California, which is what we want to do, or at least I want to do. But we'll have to work on it. Dude, into the depths. What's up? Hey, Seek, hope you're doing well. Can't wait to see how the art project comes out. Happy I could have played a small part. Yes, and that's another thing. That project. So we've been working on it. We rented a space, a studio space, to go spray paint in, because we didn't want our apartment to reek of spray paint. So we took some things over to another place, did some work there, and then brought it back here to tweak it and stuff. But that roller you got me is awesome. So thank you so much. I bought. It hasn't come in yet, but it's like what the roller was for is like there's this plastic thing that you can press down and peel it up, and it creates like whatever image. So if I draw something in pencil on a page, I can put this plastic thing on top of it, use the roller, and then peel it off, and the image I drew on the paper copies onto that as like a stencil. And then when I paint on something, I can then put that down and use the roller again and press on it, maybe put a couple books on top of it, and it'll imprint that image onto the painting as like a stencil. So very cool. So I can't wait to start using that, man. And I'm so grateful. And I'm going to put you in there. And I wanted to ask you if you could DM me on on Instagram, or if you want to send me an email, I mean, DM me on Twitter, or send me an email of just, if you want me to put your name, you and your girl's name, like, or into the depths, like, you let me know privately how you want me to credit you, because I'm going to be typing up that page very soon, or finishing that page very soon, of the credits, like of all the producers. So everyone who bought something art supply wise for me to work on that book with gets a producer credit on that book, yourself included. So thank you. Oh, yeah, I understand. Thank you, Tevia. I'm so happy we're still here, Seek. Hey, I'm so happy we are too, man. I know everyone has their fights, and I've had people like you and other people reach out to me and say, hey, I've struggled with this too. I appreciate you talking about it, which, I'll be honest, it's not a thought in my head usually when I open up. I'm not thinking, oh, someone out there feels the same way. I don't know. I actually, a coach of ours from high school, we still keep in touch with, and he had like one of our old alters as his student, and he still stayed in touch all these years, and watched us go through all these things, through the aneurysm, through everything, and he still reaches out and communicates with us. Really awesome guy, Coach Riddle, and he recently made a post about something, and I commented, honestly, like opened up, and he was talking about how there's this trend where people feel better than other people. And I commented and said, I don't think I've ever felt better than anyone. Even if I said it to like hurt someone's feelings, if they hurt my feelings, it wasn't true. Like I've never actually felt better than another person. And I just assume everyone else deserves me being nice to them, because I'm some kind of like burden in a way, by sharing the stuff I share. And I feel like I put people off sometimes by doing that. And he wrote back like the sweetest thing and said, like, I've always liked that, like, part of you where you just, that part, that not the part that thinks he's worthless, but the part that looks up to other people, that holds other people to a higher standard than himself. Like, he goes, because I think that's affected your work ethic. Like, you work harder because you think you're not doing a good enough job. And he's right. I was like, that's kind of him to notice that. But it was just, it was a nice exchange. And so for me, though, it just made me realize like how many people I've connected on this platform, on Instagram, about mental health and struggles and things like that. And I do, and I don't make it a daily post. Like, I'll post like a comic book image and I'll show like off a comic image or a cover, but I still might put a little thing in there about how our day went. I still treat Instagram like a journal. And it's funny, and it kind of makes sense, because old me, pre-aneurysm, used to actually keep real journals. And I think because of that, and because I had so many of those to read and learn about our past life, or, at least portions of it, and the versions he wrote about, I think that made an impact on me. And now I do it in case I ever disappear one day, or go in a coma, or whatever, and another alter becomes a primary host for us. Maybe if they don't know enough, maybe they can look back at Instagram, they can look at YouTube and kind of see what we're about, or at least what we tried to do. Because I always felt like I was trying to complete the work of, old us, and try to continue the writing career and continue the comic book pursuit career. And I was finishing his dreams because he never got to finish them. And so now I'm trying to create a dream of some sort, so in case I don't get to finish it, another one of us can. So, and I've learned that, because to have more than one suicide attempt and still be here, that always sat in the back of my head, like how, I can understand having fear of doing it one time in the last second, like stopping myself, but I didn't. I took more pills. Like, how am I like not gone? And then I hear in therapy Green telling his side of his life for the last 14 years and what it's been like for him this whole time. I had no idea. And him say like, oh, I was putting our fingers down our throat after he did that to throw up as much as I could, and to drove us to the hospital to get us looked at immediately and saved our lives. And I'm like, what? Or like our wrist, stopping me from damaging it more. Like these are, I don't remember those moments. I just remember the aftermath, like of doing it and then feeling like I'm passing out and then waking up in the aftermath. And here, this whole time, he's been there to make sure we still lived. And that was like a big revelation to me in therapy. And it blew my mind to hear through our therapist when he told her his side of the story. And she'll do this sometimes where she'll record and then play back. So I can actually hear, like, it's like, oh, that sounds like me, but like the voice is a little different, or the speech pattern is different, or he doesn't say as many words as I would say. Like he's more succinct with his words. And that lines up with how my friend Nathan describes Green, because Nathan met Green and said, oh yeah, that guy is like you 2.0 or 3.0. He's like, that was how Nate described him. He's like, he's just no wasted breaths. And I was like, that's how I always want to be. I feel like I talk and ramble so much. And I always try, in editing on my videos, I try to make my points more succinct. And even still, I forget things, or I cut things out that need to stay in there and stuff. And here I have a side of me who knows exactly how to do that in real time. And I'm like, that's not fair. So I was like, I want that so bad. So I'm envious of Green in that regard. Tevia says, I did make my own video about comic story, and I'll have to check it out, man. I like I said, I haven't gone down that far on that yet. I just saw the Twitter posts and stuff and all the kind words, but I'll have to check that out. I appreciate you letting me know. And again, you guys, if you're content creators, Into the Depths, great content creator, great video maker, awesome storyteller, like go subscribe to Tevia, go subscribe to Did You See That? Like everyone here, if you have a channel or anything you want to plug, do it. Like, please do it in the chat right now, please. I'll always be an ear if you ever need me. I appreciate that. And I've had a lot of people reach out and say that to me too. I even had someone say like, hey, I know Purple's going through a lot, it seems, based on my posts about Purple. And they're like, if he needs someone to talk to, but I passed the information along. So, but he deleted his Instagram account. I created an Instagram account for Seek at Night. But dude, if you want your own, because I was getting messages from people that I don't really know that he works with, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Go create your own account and send them over there. It's just my DMs sometimes do get full from messages. People like, there's a lot of people. Blue started this, and then now I have a lot of people that just send me memes, and I'll reply with memes, and so we do that a lot. And even Blue sends me stuff, and I'll send back to him. But Purple, he never really liked social media that much. And like if he went on there, like he would post something on my page and you could tell it wasn't me because it would be like a little firmer or a little harsher on something. Not that I can't be harsh and firm on stuff, but just his way of doing it was always a little different. And then there was like some things with his work. And I was like, you know what, dude, I don't want people coming here thinking I'm speaking for you, or that, and not being able to tell the difference with the hearts, like if it's you posting or me posting. I said, so why don't you create your own account? And then he did. And then after like a couple months of that, he deleted it. So I just don't think he's like Green in that regard, where Green never really cared about social media. And, but it makes sense for Green. Green was trying to not be noticed for 14 years. Like, so if he did anything, it was only in the real world stuff. And he tried not to leave a trail that I would find and go, what's this? Or a post where I'm like, what's this? And that's kind of why this can be so hard to diagnose, is because there will be identities that don't want to be noticed or seen or pulled out in the forefront. And so, that's also part of it too. So that's why it can be hard, but luckily we worked through that. And I think because of my last attempt at self-deletion, I think Green was tired of that. Like he was tired of the attempts. He was tired of me feeling sorry for myself and, feeling like my pain is worse than others. He was getting tired of that kind of selfish thinking, I guess, and was like, no, I'm going to be out now. Because we even lost some weight there. And it wasn't because we were like, I stopped eating, but it was because he was eating leaner stuff, so we were still getting protein and other things. And like, but he was just eating like cooking chicken or salmon and with lettuce. Like he was eating like really much healthier than what we normally eat. And then I kind of ballooned up again because I started eating more, and Blue likes fast food. So he eats fast food sometimes. So it's a lot. It's a back and forth. But thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. I'm glad we're all, I know we all have our struggles. So I'm glad we're all pushing through and we find people like us online to talk to and stuff. Like Andrew, what's up, Andrew? Hey, man, good to see you. I mean, I'd only found you when I was looking for info about the first Venom movie, and I remember him from the Spider-Man cartoon, what I've missed, and here you are. Was that's cool too, because that was my approach. Like when I was doing the Venom vlog, when I started it, I was like, I like Tom Hardy, and I know about Venom, and it looks in our mom actually after we started talking again and stuff, she sent us pictures and drawings and things of when we were younger, pre-aneurysm, and some of them were Venom drawings, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. When did I draw this? And and so it turns out we were a fan of this character for a long time, and Carnage. So it was cool to like do that show and start that show up and go, well, let me learn more about the character, because I probably was an encyclopedia at one point of him, but not post aneurysm. I wasn't, and so it's been fun on that journey. And I never thought we would do, like, I always hoped for like around 1,000 episodes. But if you count them up, if you do the 900 Venom vlogs and like the 40 Parasite podcasts and like the 40 or so live streams, and then all the symbiote shorts, and then there was something else. Like if you count all those, we're almost at 1,000 right now. So that's why I was like, okay, well, episode 900 will kind of officially be the end, because we'll probably be done with the Al Ewing comics by that point if he finishes after Venom War, which I'm assuming he might. And then also the third movie will be out. So yeah, we got about 26 episodes left, and we're gonna save them for, big information, for sure. So, but I'm glad you found me. I'm glad a lot of people found me, and I'm glad I found you in return, like all of you guys. And I'm glad you had help getting on your feet. Most people don't realize how important that is and just think they can go it alone. And here's the thing is I will now never be alone ever again. Even if I'm physically, like there's no one else around me, I know there are parts of me that will carry us through the muck and over the finish line. And there's something that's kind of, I found peace in that. Like I found kind of like an inner peace in that, knowing that things actually will be okay. And when I even say that, sometimes I want to tear up, but I'm like, but it's true. It's like if I eat like crap, like I said, 2 days in a row, there is a side of me that will come out and eat good for a whole day to balance us. He'll maybe go work out or do some exercises here. We have like a pad on the ground behind us, like a workout pad, and he's got these stretchy bands that are different colors, and depending on the color, they're tougher, So he'll do stuff to kind of regulate us. He won't get us in like pure shape, because unfortunately the rest of us are scaling, you're balancing the scale the other direction. So we all have to work together if we want to do something like that. But it's still good knowing that, like for example, one of us got sick recently, but I still made videos like during that week. Like I was filming a bunch of stuff. You could maybe hear a little tinge or something in my throat, but he was miserable for 2 days, purple. And that's kind of interesting. And that's something we talk about in therapy too, is how one of us can get really sick and the other ones don't feel it to that level or don't show the symptoms. Which if you remember back when I worked at Harley Davidson, I was doing my temperature at times because of, COVID and stuff. And my temperature would be all over the place. And we turned out that could be a thing too, if like someone else is nearing, taking control, and I'm taking, temperature. So, or blood pressure or things like that. Like a lot of things can affect everything with us. So it's been interesting to hear. And we are going to be done with therapy in August. So we'll have a little bit more free time coming up at that point too. And that's also the other reason we want to get a dog around that time, is so that free time can maybe go towards taking care of the new dog. Hey, Hot Rod Drive-In Theater, what's up? Hey, what's up? Wolfie is 16 years old now. That Venom premiere was a long time ago. You are kidding me. Dude, Wolfie is 16? You guys, oh my goodness. First of all, so good to see you again on here and to talk to you. If you guys don't know, so when I first saw Venom, it was at the Grove, which was a place we worked at pre-aneurysm, where we worked on American Idol and Dancing with the Stars. And so we always kind of been drawn to the farmer's market there and eating there and hanging out down there and going to that movie theater sometimes. And it was also pretty close to where we lived when we lived in Hollywood, over by Golden Apple Comics. Well, actually over by Koreatown, more closer to Koreatown. But it was like a 10-minute drive, if that. And the Grove is this really awesome place, shopping center area, like I said, farmers market and stuff. And I met these guys at Lego when I worked at Lego, and they said they were big Venom fans. And I told them about this premiere, like these premieres that might happen. And then I think they found out another way and ended up going, or I messaged them. I can't remember exactly the details, but I think we just kind of randomly ran into each other there. I happened to be off that day. I wasn't feeling too well. And my friend Andrew, who went to the Spider-Verse, he brought me to the Spider-Verse premiere with him, and which would happen a couple months after this, I think. And we met at the Justice League premiere, the red carpet for Justice League at Man's Chinese, or LA Live, or not LA Live, but wherever it was over by Man's Chinese. And he was like, "Hey, I'm at the Grove and they're going to screen Venom, and I think Tom Hardy might show up." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, and there's only like 6 people here, man." He's like, "You need to get down here." So I was living way out in Burbank at that time. So I was like, "Okay, it's going to take me like 40 minutes, but I'll get there." So I got in my car, I cleaned myself up, drove down there, and got in line. And then I saw Wolfie and them, and I was like, "Oh my God, we might meet Tom Hardy today." And they were like, "No way." And I let Wolfie read a comic book of mine. I brought a comic of Venom, hoping to get it signed. I think I ended up not getting it signed. I think just getting the intro from Tom was enough for me, and Ruben Fleischer, the director. But yeah, that was so amazing. That was 6 years ago. And so they sat next to me in the theater, and Andrew was on this side, and like a row or two behind us was Tom Hardy. He came in, greeted everyone, and then sat with us and watched the movie. So that's amazing. 16. Yeah, man. He was 10 years old when that happened. That's amazing. Well, thanks for still following me on here and reaching out like this. And I hope you guys enjoyed the third one that's coming out in October. I'll definitely be there. And maybe we'll have to do a fun thing again where we have the tickets. I think I came up with a dumb thing where we eat the tickets. We won't do that again. I don't want anyone to get lead or ink poisoning or anything. But maybe we'll come up with something where just sharing your picture with your stub and stuff. But that's amazing. Give Wolfie my best, and my best to you too and your family. That's amazing. What a memory to bring back. That's so cool. And yeah, they're in my video too of me filming there. They were in the video as well. Tom says comic story was a big reason why I got an actual reading comics. See, that's the thing is about Benny and stuff is that's the impact he had. And I didn't realize that. Like I said, I was aware of his content, but I never really watched too much of it. I'm really selective. It's funny about comic content on YouTube. I watch it sometimes, but because I make it, I don't typically watch a lot of it. It's only when Venom, the trailers come out, I'll watch other people's reactions to the trailers and kind of see what they think of the movie and what they thought of the trailer. So I do that for reaction stuff, but I Tevia and a couple other people is all who I really watch. I like watching stuff I don't know a ton about, or I mean, I guess I know some about movies, but Did You See That will review things I've never heard of, like Deep Sea or something he did recently, an animated movie. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but he's raving about it. So I put it on my list, or Blacktastic Media, who makes videos and makes movie content himself, like short films. That's the kind of stuff it's all right, these guys I became friends with. I want to support watching them with views and likes and stuff. I just, I got to get better at some of the comments sometimes, but I'm kind of a lurker, and sometimes I have stuff on in the background. Yeah, you're welcome, Tevia. That stencil press sounds like such an amazing idea. It's cool. I saw someone do it on Instagram, and I was like, yeah, we got to do this. So Into the Depths got us the roller, and we bought the sheet, I think, and it just hasn't come in yet. So actually, I got to check on that today. I don't know what's taking so long. Any thoughts on the fall of Krakoa? Do you think we'll get the X-Men caring about protecting normal humans again? Or do you think they'll keep up the Magneto, the attitude they showed in KIB? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, the X-Men is X-Men 97. If that's the only X-Men content I'll enjoy for the next few years, that's fine with me. Because that's how I am as a ingester of stuff. If I'm not enjoying the comics, but there's a cartoon, I'll enjoy the cartoon. If there's a movie and I enjoy the movie, then I enjoy the movie. But I'm not one of those where I'm like, I need the comics and the movie to be amazing. They just, as long as they both entertain me, or one of them entertains me, I'll be fine. With Venom, it's kind of fun because Venom is has been entertaining. The movies are entertaining. I don't love them and I'm critical of them, but they are entertaining. Maybe on a level that, would, maybe isn't flattering on some level. It's like a guilty pleasure maybe. But but still, even that is like fine. And the comics, the Al Ewing stuff is like 50-50. It's like some of it's really good, some of it's like meh. But I felt like that with Donnie. I still feel like Donnie and Al's runs, even though I'm critical of both at times, they're good runs, and they do a lot for the character, and that's saying something, because that character is seen by a lot of people as just like a two-dimensional villain, especially if you're an Insomniac Venom fan on some level. And it's okay to like other interpretations of Venom. I do, but I just like that version. I don't. I think it was too two-dimensional for me. But as far as X-Men go, like I didn't really care for the X-Men stuff. So I'll be honest, I haven't read Fall of Krakoa yet. The last thing I read for them was the Sinister story, Sins of Sinister, I think it was, because it went on sale in Comixology for like $4 for the full collection. And so I bought that and read it. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I like Sinister. He's a cool villain. But I haven't read How It All Ends yet. I do hope that they go back to caring about people, though. I mean, like it's not that I didn't feel like they didn't care about people. They still came in and saved the day. But it felt like they were doing it to say they did it, like they'd come in and be like, well, we saved the day again. And it kind of that approach a little bit and patting themselves on the back. And I'm like, I don't know. The X-Men, there's a lot of division in the X-Men. And I think that was captured okay in some of the stuff I read about the Krakoa age. Like there was some X-Men that felt this way towards humanity, some who felt this way. There's a little bit of that, but in the end, they're a team and they have to come together and accomplish the dream of Xavier's. And maybe that feels dated. And maybe that's why to like people who work at Marvel, because think about it this way, these guys, a lot of them editor wise, they may shift what books they work on, but they all hear about each other's books. So you could have an editor on X-Men that has been there for working at Marvel for 20, 30 years. And they're probably like, we got to do something different, So I don't mind them shaking things up, but the Krakoa age just didn't work for me overall. Not that saying it was all bad. There was some stuff in there I liked. And some of that stuff made it into X-Men 97. I liked when Magneto was talking to Rogue about mutants having their own clothing lines and their own sense of style and their own heritage and, their own way of eating and their own kind of food and the way they cook. And I'm like, that's cool. Like that's from Krakoa age. And those are the kind of things that I'm like, I like those little nuanced, to build a culture with mutants. Like I was like, that's kind of cool. That's not really been done to that level before. So there was things about it I liked, but I do hope, like I'm a status quo guy when it comes to X-Men, and X-Men 97 proved it to me. I was like, I love X-Men. They're my favorite comic book characters, a lot of them, but I don't cover them because I just really haven't liked a lot of stuff they've done with them over the years. And plus I couldn't, because I did stuff for the Fox movies that I can't talk about. Very small things, like some of them just screenings and giving feedback, but then some other stuff. So I can't really talk about a lot of the X-Men stuff before. So that's why I didn't on the channel. Yeah, I'll mention you later. That's fine, man. No problem. I look forward to it. Yeah, that way I can credit you the way you want to be credited. Seek, I remember when I first heard you were a guest with Omar on the Comic Syndicate podcast. Shout out to Comic Syndicate. Those guys still around. Awesome, awesome guys. Give them a follow. Look them up on... Oh, okay. Sorry. Lost you for a second. So look them up on Spotify or Twitter, Comic Syndicate. I think they post links to their stuff on Twitter too. But yeah, Comic Syndicate. Can you guys hear me and everything okay? I think I blipped out for a second there. The camera had some issues. But I went out of my way to find your work as well as Omar's. Glad you're still around. I'm glad I'm still doing stuff too. I'm glad I'm still creating art. It took a while. Neverland is the first book we sent to the backers, the digital one, because I want to print all 3 books in one thing for them. So that's my goal. But the second one was funny because in the beginning I was like, oh, the second one is mostly done. And then we changed some things in the first and third book. Then I was like, yeah, that shouldn't affect the second book so much. And then me and the editor went through it. And my editor was like, yeah, no. She was like, we affected a lot. So I'm like, oh, dang it. So yeah, but we're, I'm pretty sure by Christmas, everyone will get the second book and probably the third book, because the only things we're changing in book 2 now is stuff that complements and fits with book 1 and 3. So I shouldn't have to make many changes to book 3. Famous last words, but we'll see. But I'm trying to just focus on book 2 right now. And the recent edits of it. But I'm actually waiting for edits, so that's why I haven't done anything or posted about it much lately. But thank you for following us and following Omar and stuff. And I'm glad. And I think Omar's still doing his thing. I think he writes for the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. He wrote like an episode of that. So he's still doing his thing also, which is awesome. Like I saw a post of his recently. I was really happy to see. So I'm glad he's doing well. That guy pulled me away from Top Cow. I worked at Top Cow Comics, and Omar, being the awesome salesman that he is, like pulled me aside and was like, "Hey man, I know you like working over there. I know you're a big Darkness fan and Witchblade fan, and you're breaking your way into the comic industry. But if you come work for me, this is what I can offer you." And me just being, I guess, younger and just feeling like, all right, I really just want to accomplish this goal, because, like I said, writing comics and stuff never really was my goal. I felt like I at that time thought I was me with no memories, right? But there was something always pulling in me, like, just do it. Like, take this job. If it means you're going to write a comic book next week, take this job. If it means you're going to be an editor of a comic book next week, take this job. And although it hurt to leave Top Cow, because I felt like I would have learned a lot from Matt Hawkins. I know that for a fact. And that is a regret of mine, is that I didn't try to keep a foot in both doors and maybe work for Omar part-time and work for Matt part-time. Honestly, if I could time travel, that's the choice I would have. It would have been harder work, but I think the payoff would have been much greater. But it's still cool because I met people like Ryan Cady through Top Cow, and he's gone on to have a great comic book career. And Omar is off doing, cartoons and stuff. So to me, it all worked out, and I'm still doing my thing. So it's like, I feel like it still worked out in the end. But I took that job because I wanted to check that box and say, all right, if I die tomorrow, if I take my own life next month, at least I'll know that I crossed this check. I checked this box off for me, old me, And so that's cool. But I'm glad you found us through that, and I'm glad you stuck around, man. Do I appreciate that. Tevye says, anyways, enough of sad news. Let's talk about good news, and let's talk about Zeb Wells leaving Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm happy about that too. If you're not reading Ultimate Spider-Man, you should. It's a great book. To me, I posted a tweet about this the other day. That is where Peter Parker should be in comics. He should be married. He should be, you don't have to have Harry. All the details are different because it's the Ultimate Universe. But where he is in his life, it makes sense, because you have Miles, who the torch has kind of been passed to him as teenager Spider-Man. So to me, that's where you get all your teen angst stuff and your teen drama and all that. You can have that with Miles now. And why Marvel didn't jump on that just proves the lack of vision, I feel, that maybe those editors on Spider-Man have. And I don't mean to, poke at them or say they're not doing their job well, but I think the proof is in the reaction and sales now of Ultimate Spider-Man. That shows how hungry people were for a mature and fatherly figure, Peter Parker. Because that's the one thing I liked about Superman, was they made him a dad. And Batman. Batman never really had parents. He had Alfred as like a surrogate father type that was there as emotional support, and raised him too, to give Alfred credit. So he had a good dad in that respect. And Superman has had two of the best dads in all of comics. Like, Jor-El is amazing, and his mom Laura is amazing, or his wife Laura is amazing. Superman's mom, Laura, and then you have the Kents, who are also awesome. So to see him become a dad and struggle with it is amazing, because it's like he's had the best parents in the world. That's why I like to show Superman and Lois also. So to me, it's cool to have these characters grow. It doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hinder the stories you can tell with them, in my opinion. It's just, I don't know. So to me, Nick Spencer, was it Nick Spencer who wrote that, the Spider-Man run that we were following during the Venom vlog, where it ended, where Peter and Mary Jane could get back together and all the One More Day stuff was kind of undone. And they revealed that one day Mephisto will try to get revenge on Peter for undoing all of this and learning the truth through kindred and everything. And that Mayday Parker, their daughter, is going to be the one to kill Mephisto after he tries to get revenge. I'm like, that's great. Like, that's a great future. Like, maybe you don't follow it. You can't, because it's different writers and stuff. But still, that left us with hope at the end of that run, whether you like that run or not. I did like that run. Not every bit of it, but overall. And then you go to Zeb Wells stuff, and where it's a reset button again. I'm like, nah, okay, I'm done. So even though I like some of the Tombstone stuff that they're doing and the roommate stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. It's not all of it's bad, but the Paul stuff and the Mary Jane stuff, awful, just awful. So yeah, I'm not into it, and it's not good. It's just not a good story, in my opinion. And it's showing. And I saw Dan Slott have a meltdown the other day about how sales are everything, and like Amazing Spider-Man's been the number one selling book during Zeb's run at Marvel, and blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, but they put that book out twice a month, and they inflate the numbers by doing a bunch of variants. So like when I go to the comic store, I just see I see a row of Amazing Spider-Man covers, and they don't sell. So like I don't know what Dan Slott's talking about. Like printing a book and putting it in stores, you can tout those numbers all you want, but if half of that shelf goes into the back issue bin, then no, it wasn't a success. It's a big flop. And then when every like 5 issues is like a $10 comic from Amazing Spider-Man because they got their numberings wrong all the time, and it's so I don't know what Dan Slott's talking about. It's Amazing Spider-Man, just because the numbers are up there doesn't mean it's a selling success. Ultimate Spider-Man, however many books get put on the shelf, they're gone. So maybe they put less on the shelf, but they're selling out. You cannot find those issues. Even going in on a Wednesday afternoon, you can't find those issues. So to me, Ultimate Spider-Man is running laps around Amazing Spider-Man on every level, in my opinion. Maybe the numbers, like you said, maybe they're not printing as many copies. I don't know. I don't follow numbers like that on comics that much anymore. So maybe one of you guys will know. But story-wise and fan reaction, clearly we have a winner. Hopefully you take notice how Ultimate is blowing out of the water for the new one. Yeah, oh man, Ultimate is, at least reaction-wise, it's up there. Like, again, and it is selling out. But again, they may, like, let's say Amazing Spider-Man prints 40,000 copies a month, and that's per issue, so that's 80,000 Amazing Spider-Man issues that go out every month because they come out every 2 weeks. That's also still inflating the numbers of that book. But then you have, let's say, Ultimate, maybe they only print 30,000 or 25,000, but at least those are selling out. Whereas I think the Amazing Spider-Man issues sit on the shelf, and then they eventually get put into dollar bins at some point. So, they get put into back issue bins first, and then eventually end up in dollar bins. And that can be said for even the stuff Dan Slott wrote. A lot of that ended up in dollar bins too. Like that book didn't sell out every time either. And I know because I worked in a comic book store when his books were coming out. And not just any comic store, Golden Apple, which is like a key comic book store in Los Angeles. So I'll always be here, man, because you're a great friend. Hey, thank you, Tevya. You too, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Swordsman says same, and Blue might like the Henry Stickmin collection. Oh, he might. Oh, hold on. I got a super sticker. I got to get. I didn't even notice this. Holy cow! I'm so sorry, Sky. Thank you, Swordsman. Thank you. Hope Venom War is the end. Al isn't as good as Donnie or Mike. Yeah, I'm not liking it. I like Donnie's more because there was more emotion in that one and more emotional growth. And this one, not so much. This is it's losing me at times. So yeah, but I think Donnie's run. I liked it when it came out. I did have criticisms, and there were parts of it I didn't like, but I think what he did for the character overall, you can't deny it. And I'm actually still, and Mike, yeah, I like Mike Costa's run too. I think there's a lot of emotional growth in that run too. I'm glad I was able to find you too. I'm glad too. But hey, Sky, thank you. I'm sorry it took me a minute to get to that. That's from 20 minutes ago. I apologize. The $9.99 super sticker. Thank you so very much. Like, you did not have to do that. That was super kind of you. And you've been awesome, by the way. I don't know if I told you this. I've been playing Dead Space on Twitch. So this is something I didn't know happened until recently. So I got a deposit in our account, and I didn't know because I get it. Sometimes we'll make money from some stuff that I do on the side. Blue might make some eBay money. Purple works, and he gets a job. He has a job. Blue also has a second job that he works. So sometimes money comes in, and I'm like, I don't know where it came from. I got a check from. I think there's landscapers here. Apologize for the noise if you hear it. We got a $50 deposit from Twitch, and I was like, what? Why? So I went and looked, and last year, after it was January, I think, of 2023. From January till May of 2023, for 5 months, we played Marvel's Midnight Suns, which I loved that game. I had a great time playing it. And I had some criticisms, but overall, like, that game was awesome. I had a really good time playing that game. We were getting, people would like, oh, here's a super, or whatever they're called over there. They're not comments or super chats or anything, but they have like other names for them. So there was people doing that. There's people becoming members, and I'm like, hey, you don't have to become a member. I'm not on here that much. I just come on here to play a game every now and again, and then I edit that footage and put on YouTube. So if you want to support me, you can support me on YouTube. And then there was people that were gifting memberships when I was playing Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2. And that was really kind of everybody. And then Sky came in when I was playing Halo and gave a donation as well and became a member, I think. And or bits, I think they're called in Cheers, right? So anyway, all that added up and crossed a $50 threshold, and I got a $50 deposit from Twitch. And I said, well, then we got to do something with that. Like, we got to buy games to play, because if people want to support us over there, even though we don't have the time, we'll have to try to make time when we can and at least play. Even if no one joins the stream, we got to give them something to watch later if they're members or whatever, because I was like, I hate the idea of someone paying for a membership and me not playing a whole game for a whole month, and your membership, that $3 or $4, whatever it is gone for nothing. And I'm like, that doesn't feel right to me. So I went over there and I took the $50. I bought Dead Space a couple weeks ago when it was on sale for $25. And then the other $25, I bought the 2 Gears of War games that I didn't own, which was Gears of War 5 and Gears of War 1 Remake Ultimate Edition. So now I own all the Gears of War games, including Tactics. So we will do a Gears of War marathon because I'm so excited for E-Day. I'll even show you right here if I can. There's E-Day as the background on our phone. This is Purple's phone. He picked it. It's lavender. It's got purple on it. But I was like, no. I got to pick the background image then. So yeah. And our other phone still exists. And that phone, our backgrounds in it are still an image of Echo and Ace. And Blue uses that phone a lot because he'll use it to watch YouTube videos or, whatever. So yeah, we still keep the 2 phones. And sometimes I'll use them to record, overhead shot if I'm doing a product review, and then a shot of my face. I do that sometimes, as you guys have seen too. But Sky, you pushed me over the edge to get a check from Twitch, and I just want you to know that money went into buying some games. So we will play those games on that channel, and I am playing Dead Space Remake right now. So if you head over there, you should see the first 2 episodes. I play them when I'm fronting, and unfortunately for me, and I've been fronting like from 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. So I've been playing them during those hours. So I know no one's around to watch those playthroughs, but hopefully they're still there on the channel for you to watch. So hopefully you feel like you're getting some value for your membership over there. But thank you for the 10 here. I appreciate it. And like I said, at this point, I think when we get our check from YouTube, I'm going to use that money to go towards getting us a new dog, because I think that will help us mental health wise. It would be good for us to get back into a routine, to walk more again, to get a little exercise in, and to have a new dog to train from, puppy level. Hopefully we'll see what we end up with, but still train on some level, and help us be more social again. So that money, this YouTube money, I think, because we already got a new desk, we got new, camera and everything and lights. To me, I'm like, well, we already upgraded the channel this year. So this money can now go towards something that would maybe upgrade us on some level. And so hopefully you guys are okay with that. If you'd rather me get something else, but I don't know tech-wise what else I could use right now for this channel, so you can let me know. But if you're okay with it, I'd like to put it towards the fees of getting a new dog and maybe getting some food and stuff for the new dog. The best comic for Venom right now is Michelini Separation Anxiety. Yeah, I like the first issue, by the way. I will do a video, a short. I'm going to do, so some of the comics coming out, I'm going to do symbiote shorts. My plan is to get up to like 50 episodes of symbiote shorts, because then that'll definitely put us over 1,000 Venom vlogs. So my next symbiote short, though, is for Venom vs. Reborn #1, which I did not like at all. I didn't like either story. I kind of like that they're doing the eventuality as the narrator for this series, but I didn't like the 2 stories. But you'll see my short go on that. I'm going to do 1-minute reviews on symbiote shorts, and I'll probably have that first one done maybe tonight, hopefully. But yeah, I do like the Michelini, that one. I mean, like his previous ones were fun, I'm critical of a lot of things. I understand that, but if overall my feeling is fun, then I'm like, okay, cool. And I think the second Venom series with Doom was fun, more fun than the first one. And then I think this one so far has been really fun. So I'm with you. I feel the Garden of Meridia stuff gets a bit much after a while. That's how I kind of feel too, Tom, especially with the Bedlam and 2 Bedlams now and all this stuff. I'm just like, whatever. And now like Black Widow's a symbiote, and like we have all these other characters that are bringing symbiotes. Peter Parker's going to get the black suit again. And I'm just like, whatever. Like, it's like, okay, sure. Yeah, time does fly, doesn't it? While I followed you for the Venom movie news, I like getting into knowing what's going on in your personal life and knowing your what you're doing because you're so genuine. I feel. Well, that's kind of you. That's really kind of you. I assume people don't like hearing about my personal life, which is why I privated my Instagram, and I figured, all right, well, the people that are here, they're probably used to it by now, but I still try to, post something fun or light, or if I post it in a story with a song that's like, something. So I don't know. I try. I don't like to trauma dump or burden people, but at the same time, I feel like maybe I can educate people on something because as I've been educated the past 2 years, like I didn't even know what I was going through for 12 whole years. That's a long time to not know that there's another part of you that exists, and others now. It's like, so to me, as I'm being educated, I feel the need to share that. And I think that's what this art book is, is I'm going to share kind of what our experience has been in a way through art. And I'm doing these paintings and stuff like that. And they're helping me. Like blue has had some input and influence on things, purple as well, green even. So like, I'm hoping this art book comes out and it's cool. I just wanted something else to come out next year that was visual because or this hopefully by the end of this year is the plan. But like Neverland is just a novel. Like it's a series of novels that I wrote. No, not a lot of visuals except the covers. So to me, I'm like, I wanted something visual to come out to show people that I haven't given up on creating visual things. And 10 years ago, I did Elan Vital. And so that's why I'm like, yeah, let's do another visual. It's time. 10 years ago was YouTube era and Elan Vital era. But thank you for saying that. And I tried to just be upfront with you guys about stuff. If I feel there's a connection to be made to what we're talking about. But if I ever cross a line, like I have crossed people's personal lines before, but I don't mind you telling me. Like I don't mind being aware of something that might upset someone. Then I go, okay, well then I'll do my best not to go down that road, because I'm not here to like trigger or upset people either. We just talk comics on this channel and things that escape us from reality. I don't like getting into, there's a lot of awful things happen in the world, and I purposely don't get into that stuff because I'm sure all of us are aware of it if we want to be aware of it, and we research it if we want to research it, and we have our thoughts on it, and that's where they can stay. And to me, I just like talking about the things that detach us from those for even a brief moment in time. It sounds like a lot of fun. Oh, thanks. Well, hopefully it will be. I hope Venom 3 is the best of the trilogy. It looks fun, right? There's so much good ideas in the film that could be executed so well for the finale. I hope it doesn't end up like Let There Be Carnage. Yeah, I'm with you. And I see a lot of people say that about Let There Be Carnage. Like, I think my review of the first Venom was like a 7.5 or an 8, like around there. Because I just thought it was like, oh, it's kind of dumb fun. But Tom really committed to the role, and I appreciated that. In the second one, there was still that level of commitment with Tom, but I guess I was just expecting visually something different from Andy Serkis. And the Carnage stuff I didn't hate. It just didn't go all the way, and I know, and I'm not talking about rated R. I mean, I still think they could have done more with them at the rating they had. But to me, I don't know. When you simplify certain things, it's like that's where, characters don't feel like they're true to the character. And I feel like there's some simplification in Carnage. Not a ton. I mean, I feel like they still did the St. Estes thing. They still did his backstory. I love that scene where they show the animation of how his backstory was. Like, I thought all that was, they did, the effort was put in, but I still think I gave that like a 7 out of 8. So it was 1 point less than the first one. And I was hoping to go the other direction. So hopefully in this one, if this movie comes out and I rate it an 8 again, like the first one, I'll feel like we went back up and ended on a good note, And this one does look fun. It looks like it's a road trip, cross country, cross world. Eddie has to get to Vegas to, whatever the story is, outrunning, the government and also the giant, what are the xenophages. So yeah. Hey, welcome back, Andrew. Awesome. Hi, apologies. What's up, Georgie, for being late? Happy 10 year. Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And I love Georgie too, because Georgie will come in and put his honest opinion on stuff, even if it goes against mine. But you hear me in my videos, I always ask, I'm like, hey, if you feel the same or feel different, let me know. And I always appreciate when people do feel differently on something and they comment that. Like, I'm okay with it. I totally am. Because as long as you're not like you're an idiot for thinking that, because I would hopefully, I hope I'm never like that to you. I want to respect your opinion too. And so I've learned a lot about someone like Swordsman, especially. He'll go, well, here's how I see it. And I go, you know what? That actually makes sense. Like that makes a lot more sense than what I even said. So I appreciate that, back and forth. I really do. That was a great memory. Take care. Definitely get together when you make it back to LA. That's kind of you to say that. I'm working on it. We have one more year here on our lease. We have one more year here, and we're doing that to kind of just save money, right, for that trip, because I think we spent like $3,000 coming here, but we didn't need, no, maybe $4 or $5,000, but we didn't need to. Was the bad part. We had to put a $400 hitch on our car, and then rent a U-Haul and all that. Like in the past, the times we've gone to LA and come back, everything was in our car, and it was just hotel stops, and we weren't lugging a giant. It was like pulling a sail, like a boat sail. There's I have video and footage of us, like I'm freaking out driving through, where were we? Flagstaff area. It was snowing. This was like what, March of 2020. And it was still snowing in Flagstaff, and I took Echo out and let him interact with the snow because he's only seen snow, like I think that was his first time seeing snow, actually, the whole time I had him. And so we're driving across, and like we're going down through mountains and stuff and swerving, and you could see the U-Hauls. It was like 8 feet, I think. Yeah, it was an 8 feet gap between the back of my car and the front of the U-Haul thing that I was towing. So wind was just hitting it. We couldn't go more than like 45, 50 miles an hour without like breaking the engine of the car, which at one point we did have car problems in Tennessee. And luckily it was something small, and the staff didn't even charge us. So I bought them all food. Like I went to like Wendy's, and I just bought like pizza. I think I just bought them a bunch of pizzas. I think that's what I did. Or was Wendy's. They were next to a Wendy's, but I bought them and just brought a bunch of food over and was like, here, this is for your entire staff. And they were like, why? And I go, because you didn't charge me anything. This probably cost like $100, $200, maybe more. So here's like $100 in food. Just take it. So really cool. Those people helping me out in Tennessee. But yeah, my plan is to eventually get back there. I thought about that now that I'm getting older. I'm 42 this year. I'm like, if I knew I was going to die at 50, where do I want to spend those last like 6 or 7 years? And I was like, well, it's LA. It's not because it's just because of that's where my home is. Like, even my mom, like in my 14 years of existence, I have more memories and connections with people in LA than I even do with my own mom. Not that that doesn't mean I don't love my mom and that the connection we have isn't strong. It's just tough. And it's probably tough for her too, like what I've been going through. So, and her having known about it since we were kids. So to me, like it's a lot, it's a lot. But I just know I'm like, I can make myself happy here, but I don't want to. It's not that I don't want to put in any effort. It's just that I know where I already am happy. So yeah, I'll work on it. But who knows? The bummer is that I don't know how many more years I'll make YouTube videos, because I don't think anyone wants to see a 45-year-old guy on YouTube talking about comics stuff. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. We'll go until you guys tell me, hey, you're too old. Like get off the internet. Get off the internet, Grandpa. So when I start hearing more comments like that, then yeah, that's probably time to wrap it up. I don't begrudge the comics, but for me, X-Men 97 is where my mind goes with X-Men. Yeah, same with me now. That show was so good that I'm like, I don't need anything else with X-Men. Just keep making this show this good, and I'll keep watching it. I just like the whole be a separate society message it sends, because the allegory to, the whole current comic thing, like, I don't like that. We want to be our own island. We want our own this. It's like, yeah, but every time that happened in the comics, it was the wrong decision. Genosha and all these things, like it leads to pain and chaos. It's better to integrate in with society and be a part of them. That's kind of Xavier's dream. Isolation never really was. So, I don't know. It's X-Men is a great topic for discussion, but to me, outside when that cartoon, when I watched it, I was like, this is so good. I don't care now that the comics aren't my thing. I have the show, and I just hope the show continues that level of quality. Remember that time, the infamous New Warriors comics? Because I only found out that it was never released. I thought it was. No kidding. The New Warriors, Um, I don't know if I remember. I don't know. I might have to refresh my memory a little bit. But it never got released, huh? I feel like I know what you're talking about, and I feel like and I don't at the same time. Feel free to refresh me real quick, Georgie, if you need to. Yeah, X-Men is freaking fantastic and one of the best X-Men anything we had in a very long time. I agree, 100% agree. And it was so funny because when the Gambit thing happened, I too was like, oh, maybe they'll do a time travel thing. But then in the next episode, they explained, oh, there's fixed events. I'm like, oh yeah, like in Spider-Verse and other things. So you can't change Gambit's death. Okay. So then my immediate thought after watching that episode was like, okay, well then he'll be a horseman, like he was in the comic books. And then boom, they set that up. I'm like, oh, that's so great. That's gonna be great. Because then now it'll be painful to see Rogue interact with him now because he'll be on the other side, on Apocalypse's side. Hang on one second. I'm starting to get mouth dry again. But yeah, I love the X-Men stuff. X-Men 97 is amazing, but that's the thing. I'm very worried that it won't be that good after the first 2 or 3 seasons if they plan to continue beyond season 3 with Bo's involvement. So that guy is interesting because we brought him up on the channel before. He was originally one of the writers. He wrote an episode of Moon Knight, episode 4, which is my least favorite episode. I don't hate the episode. It's just, it's important to the story, but it just like, I don't know. I don't think he wrote Mark really well in that episode to where I'm like, yeah, this needs to be pivotal. Episode 3 and 4 are the Mark episodes, the Mark Spector episodes. And I found myself missing Steven, which is great because Steven was a great character and version of Steven. But I still wanted to like Mark more. And it wasn't until episode 5 and 6 that I started to really understand Mark. So for me, Bo didn't really stick the landing on his episode. Again, I don't know everything he contributed, but that was got credited for writing the episode. So it's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm feeling this episode. So when he got put on Blade and then he got let go of Blade, because Blade's had numerous problems. So that maybe can't be blamed on him really, because it sounds like they just can't make up their mind on what to do with that character. So I'm like, okay, I'll give him a pass there. But I was still a little worried about X-Men. And then he got fired for I don't even know what reason right before. And because I didn't know the reason, I didn't want to comment too much because I'm like, I don't know if he did something behind the scenes that's like a creepy thing, or if he just is just living his life and people don't like that. Like, I don't know what the reason was, or if he's just hard to work with, which yes, sometimes people can be hard to work with, but hard in what way? Like hard in the way that they challenge you, hard in the way that they get passionate and they yell sometimes. I don't think those are great qualities sometimes, in a work environment, but I also know that people are sensitive too. So is it someone just being a little too sensitive because he's pushing back on their idea that they have? And so I don't know. I don't know all those little details. So I didn't want to comment on anything. I've worked in enough environments, and creative and non-creative, where you're trying to accomplish something and people get heated and agitated and stuff. And the hope is that you just don't take it personally and that you just hope it's for the betterment of the project or the product or whatever it is. And it's hard to detach yourself. Even in my younger ages, it was hard for me to detach myself in those scenarios. I feel like nowadays, if I still worked in comics, I'd probably handle that kind of stuff better. Now that I've detached myself from it and seen what it's like not doing it, and then being like, okay, yeah, maybe it wasn't so bad getting yelled at sometimes, because look how it turned out. So I don't know what the reason was, but when he got fired, I was worried that it was for something, not good. And so I kind of I was like, oh, I'll just stay out of that conversation for now. But then, I don't know I still don't know what the reason is. I don't know if he said it or not. But he's definitely added something to that show. So I hope season 2 and 3 without him, because they're going off of his like outlines, I hope they maintain that quality. And if they can without him, that's a good thing. But if they can't, and we notice it next season, I hope they bring him back for season 3, assuming that whatever he got fired for wasn't like policy breaking or whatever the case is. The Krakoa stuff with Hickman, Tevye says, I thought was amazing, but after he left the book, it went all downhill. That's the other thing, is he was championed as he's going to be the guy to reinvent X-Men. And then it got passed off to like Kelly Thompson and Jerry Duggan, who are great in their own right, doing their own thing, but they're just not Jonathan Hickman, and I think you needed Hickman to really pull that idea off. And I think he was still there to like, consult and stuff at times, but I don't know what his involvement was past those first like year or two of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, yeah, you only blipped for a second. Okay. Oh wow, well, I'm way behind on comments. On which Sonic cartoon? Sonic Prime. I think he works on Sonic Prime. Let me try to catch up on these. Yeah, what's crazy is that X-Men comic stories are actually really good. The Amanda's Spider-Man run is awful. Makes you want to throw that explosive pie to everyone. I know, man. I know. I don't know what it is about Peter Parker where people just feel like they have to mess with the guy on an extreme level. It's like, nah, he has to have struggles, sure, but I mean, come on, like, when's enough, man? Give us 616 May, you cowards. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there you go. That'd be awesome. I think Mayday is a great great character, and she's kind of bounced in the background a little bit over the last decade or so, and it's a shame because in my mind, Peter Parker's always going to have a daughter. And her name's always going to be May, like forever. Like it doesn't matter. Even if you make a universe like Ultimate Universe where he's got two kids, I'm like, doesn't matter. May. That's his actual kid. So to me, that's just burned into my mind. I agree, especially with him being married and his wife, Mary Jane. They have a daughter, Mayday, Spider-Girl live kicking in the Marvel Universe. And even still, you can do fun stories like the X-Men do where, Cable comes back in time and sees, his parents and works with them for a time. He could do that with Mayday. Like, oh, yeah, Mayday. She's like, in the future, she comes back and she's like, yeah, I'm here to help out on certain things. I know how the Mephisto thing's going to go, and I can't tell you everything because, fixed time events and stuff, but I'm still going to come back and help where I can. You could have moments like that. And that way she's getting more time with her dad, at his prime too, when he's a superhero. So yeah, I don't know. There's so many stories. To me, when people say, oh, making him married and having him have a kid, that reduces the amount of stories you can tell. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It only expands. It only builds. You can only build off of that. What are you talking about? How uncreative are you to look at that and say, oh, that limits us so badly? It's like, you should not be writing comics or editing comic books if you feel that way. You should just quit tomorrow. Peter being depressed, miserable, unhappy guy for the sake of being those things not automatically make a good Spider-Man story. I'm looking at you, Loda. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I heard about that. I still haven't watched it yet, but I heard about that Lotus thing. Lois and Superman is like the one Arrowverse show I genuinely love. It's so good. I love that show so much. Much as I dislike Damian's origins, Bruce having to deal with a kid that is his means a lot. It does. It's so interesting because you're like, Batman, he knows what it's like to be a mentor and like a fatherly figure because Alfred was like that to him. So he was like that to Dick Grayson and, Tim Drake and all that. When he adopted Tim Drake, that was the most I was like, wow, that's a big moment for Bruce to accept being a real father and adopting Tim Drake. Like that to me was huge moment in that character's history. And then so when they revealed Damian, I was kind of like, man, but that doesn't cheapen the Tim moment. It just made me relook at it. But then he struggled being a father figure to where he got lost in time and Dick Grayson showed up and he was the father figure that Damian needed. And it made when Bruce came back, Damian was different around Bruce because of his being kind of raised and trained by Dick Grayson. And I was like, that's so good. And Grant Morrison said it best. He's like, only Dick Grayson could have tamed Damian. If Batman would have lived through, Blackest Night and the story before that, R.I.P. and all that stuff, like if that was Bruce the whole time, then Damian would end up being a villain. He would be the issue 666 Damian, and probably worse than that version. But because Dick Grayson was a part of his life when his dad was gone, that's why he, the ship got righted. So I think that's great. I think Damian's history in the comics has been fun. And I like Jonathan Kent a lot. I don't like him aged up. I think that's another trope like Bendis stuff where they don't know what to do with kid characters, so they age them up. And I'm like, God, that's so terrible. It's so predictable and lazy too. Like, but if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do that trope, have a real genuine plan for it. And they did some stuff with Jonathan that I'm like, okay, cool. You're doing something with him, giving him a love interest, all that stuff. But I still like, he just works better. It's just funner seeing him as a kid with Damian. It's just more fun. And what's wrong with having fun comics? Like, why does everything have to be doom and gloom and romance and stuff? It's like New Warriors and Power Pack and all these things. It's like, they can be slingers. They can be young kids, and Miles, like, and Miss Marvel. They can just be fun young kids out there trying to make a difference. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, why take that away? Like, that's limiting stories, in my opinion. I agree. Superman being a father and having his son Jonathan Samuel Kent, Superboy as his 10-year-old self, was really amazing, and it breaks my heart. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think that character got a little destroyed too, a little bit, not a ton. They still do some cool stuff with him, but I would have been better just keeping him as a kid. Indeed, because Ultimate Spider-Man is freaking selling and is proving everyone. I know, man. It's Ultimate Spider-Man is killing. If you're not reading that book and you're a Spider-Man fan, check it out. It's a different take on Spider-Man for sure, but it's fun. And the Mary Jane issue that came out, the issue 6, I think, where she names him Spider-Man, really cool, really awesome stuff. Harry Osborn is the one who gives him the power and responsibility speech. Green Goblin's kind of a hero, and Peter teams up with him. And they have the Sinister Six coming up with Kingpin forming them. And you got Black Cat's father, the male Black Cat. He's on the team, and it's like it's cool with Mr. Negative and stuff. So I can't wait. I can't wait to check out what's going on. Honestly, something I wish Marvel would copy DC over. DC is really good about having groups of similar heroes. Spidey and Venom would do wonders copying the Bat Family approach. I agree. That little nest could be really cool. Web corner of the Marvel Universe. They could do, because they kind of do with X-Men and compartmentalize them, and Avengers stuff they compartmentalize. They do sometimes a Spider-Man, but just with the current run that Zeb's doing, you almost can't have Spider-Man interfere too much with other people's stuff because of the type of story they're telling. So that limits storytelling, in my opinion. I just feel like if Peter married Mary Jane and they did a big wedding thing and started the first issue, Amazing Spider-Man, was the remarriage of Peter Parker and Mary Jane. I mean, maybe they didn't have to go that quickly into it, but that still would have been really a page turner and got people locked into that run a lot better, other than starting with going, what happened 6 months ago? Oh my God, something bad happened 6 months ago. What was it? And then spending like a year trying to tell you what it was, only for it to not really matter and be stupid anyway. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I hear what you're saying. I'm also happy to report that this latest issue of Ultimate Spider-Man proves Marvel was wrong, and shocker, Peter and Mary Jane being married and having their kid accept their dad is, yeah, exactly. It's all good. It's really good stuff. Dan is odd that he's a good Spider-Man writer when he's focused on just Peter, New Ways to Die, Spider Island, Red Goblin, etc. Yeah, Dan. Yeah, and it's funny. Dan used to follow me on Twitter, on my old Twitter account, when I had like a couple thousand followers in the beginning on Twitter, because I did the Harmontown show and I had a lot of people follow me and stuff, which was really awesome. But I don't handle that well too. A lot of people follow. Then you start saying an opinion, and everyone gets mad about stuff. And I started to retreat, and stop. I was like, oh man, I got to get rid of Twitter. And before I did, though, I was followed by Dan Slott, and I think Nick Lowe, the editor of Spider-Man, because I had stopped a robber from stealing a copy of Spider-Man 700, which launched Superior Spider-Man, and he was trying to steal a bunch of copies of them. And I stopped them. And so they wrote me, and they were really cool. And I was like, oh, you're welcome. I mean, just doing my job. I don't want people to steal from Golden Apple. They're a family run business. And then I soon after criticized him. I think it was during the clone conspiracy. I did a video, a Seek and Destroy episode, where I had made one criticism about how I didn't like something. And then the weird thing is, the very next issue, it made me put my foot in my mouth. I was like, oh, wow, the next issue answered my dumb question. I could have just waited one more issue, which is why sometimes I wait for a run to finish so I can review it all at once, as opposed to going issue by issue. Sometimes I don't like doing that because I know the story's not finished. And so I learned my lesson this way, and I was like, oh, yeah, I feel dumb. So I went to write Dan and said, hey, man, I think I was critical on the last episode. I didn't tag him in it because I was critical, because I heard he's kind of sensitive about criticism. So I didn't tag him, but I don't know if he watched it, but then he blocked me. And I'm like, what the hell? I was critical of one thing. This issue proved me wrong. I'm coming to apologize, and I'm making a new video. So I ended up not making the video where I apologize, because I'm like, well, if this guy's going to block me, I'm like, what the hell, man? So yeah, Dan, I don't know. But I still like Superior Spider-Man. I still like some of his run, a lot of it. But I don't know. That always irked me. I'm just like, really, a block? For an unfollow, I would have been like, okay, he's unfollowed me. That's fine. But I can still write him and apologize. But a block, I was like, oh, man, what the hell, dude? Midnight Suns was the best Marvel game we had in a while. I love that game. Eddie was so good. I know. That's why people were like, oh, Insomniac Venom sucks. I'm like, okay, well, go play Midnight Suns, man. I really tried to get people aware of that game so it could sell better. But unfortunately, that division of that company is shutting down, and they're not going to make another one, which sucks, because that game ended with a great cliffhanger with Dr. Doom. So it looks like we're not going to get another Midnight Suns, unfortunately. But hey, well, at least we got one Midnight Suns game, and it was a fun one, and it was like a tactics game, which I appreciated. And even though it had the card system in it, I still got past that and had fun playing it. So yeah, I'm always going to be grateful that that game exists. I am excited for E-Day 2. Yeah, me too. I am too. Looks way better than Avengers A-Day. Yeah, it does. Don't mind us. Get whatever you want. Oh, do mind us. Get whatever you want. Oh, I gotcha. Hey, VCX, what's up, man? Long time no see. Tom says Venomverse Reborn is already a mess. Fire Greg Land already. Yeah, I know. And then I also heard some heartbreaking news of what's it, Francisco Matina? He was doing covers for DC. I didn't even know this. Apparently, he like uses AI and stuff in his artwork, and that sucks because I just pre-ordered 2 boxes of the new Dark Knight's Metal trading cards because I really like that series. I didn't love the story overall, but I love the concept, and I liked Batman Who Laughs, like the look of him. He's like a Venom look, you know. He's very evocative. Like he draws the eye, and with him all those zombie Robins around him, like it's so cool. So I got 2 boxes of the trading cards that are coming out from Cryptozoic, but they use some of his artwork, and I'm like, that's a bummer because I don't know if he used AI during that period or not, but apparently he used AI in a recent Superman cover, and everyone's like kind of calling him out on it, and it's a shame, man, because I'm a big fan of traditional art or digital art. That's fine as long as you're the one creating it. I'm not a big fan of corner cutting when it comes to art. Just like I wouldn't be with writing if someone used Chat GPT to help write some of their script. I wouldn't be okay with that either. So yeah, I don't like that assist, that corner cut. Like challenge yourself, and if you spend a whole day looking at the keyboard and write nothing, that's fine. Your brain was still working and you tried. Come back tomorrow, get some good sleep and come back tomorrow and try again. Same with drawing. Like just, don't cut corners. Done with Venomverse. Yeah, no. And when Venomverse died, that book sucked. And when they were doing Venomverse Reborn, I'm like, it's only been dead for like 2 months or 3 months. Like, you're going to bring it back already? And it's okay. I was, all right, they're bringing it back with the eventuality, and Al Ewing's writing the beginning and end of each book to tie it in and have him be the Watcher type character to narrate this. But I'm like, I don't care. I don't care to get to know this Eddie that exists at the end of time with all the powers and everything. Like, I don't care. And a virus Venom that goes into Dr. Banner, that story I didn't like at all. And the Insomniac one, so pointless. It's so pointless. Like, literally, Venom has a little monologue. He gets pulled into the Marvel universe, the 616 universe from his universe, after he says the line, we will heal everyone. He gets pulled in. He meets Null. They fight. He fights his dragon. And then Null's like, can't kill him because of some weird multiverse God rule that makes no sense. And then, but he can still erase Norm or Harry Osborn's brain, mind, and memories, and the symbiote's memories, and send them back to where he pulled them from with no memories. I'm like a Men in Black memory flash thing. It's like, but like a lazy version of it. So like, to me, I'm like, so what's the point of this? He went in this universe. He didn't interact with anyone other than Null, and then got sent back and has no memory of what just happened. So that literally pointless, It's like, so to me, I know I hated that issue, hated it. And I'm sorry to be mean because I know the person who wrote it, and he's a really nice guy, really, really nice guy. I actually met him at Golden Apple, and he brought a dog in off the streets that we named Gwen, and we took her in, and we were going to keep her, but then Golden Apple, the owners, I let them watch Gwen while I was back home on vacation, and they gave her to somebody else because they didn't think I could handle watching 2 dogs, which I didn't appreciate that at all, because I wanted Echo to have a friend, a sister, or another dog to be with whenever I'm not around. But they, but still, like, they did what they thought was best for the dog, which is fine. And Gwen went to another home. But I met Christos, before that. But he was always him and his wife were always really nice to me. And so when I saw his name on the book, I got excited. And then I read it, and I was like, man, I don't know. And again, I don't know if that was his call or Insomniac's call, because they're like, hey, we can't have a Venom in our universe know about the other universe, so you got to undo it. It could be a note from editorial on that. But then I'm like, then why write it? In my opinion, I would have wrote a story that takes place in the Spider-Man game universe, is what I would have done. Why bring him to meet Null? Like, it doesn't make any sense. The only issue I had with David is he forgot Eddie was a Christian in the Doom one. Seriously, Eddie should not be surprised. I know, exactly. I'm with you on that one. But besides that, he's keeping it light and fun, which is cool. LOL, like I said, some writers are just treat the symbiotes, they're cool in suits and nothing else. That's true. They do that. As for Venomverse, I'm hoping it gets better since we're moving past Venom in name only, aka Spider-Man 2 Harry. Yeah, I hope it. I don't know. I'm not going to read anymore, though. I'm done with issue 1. That's it. While I do get the criticism towards how Venom was portrayed in Spider-Man 2, I don't really hate it. What I hate is how the shoehorn his appearance in a comic and how lazy it is. That's cool, too. And again, I don't hate the version that's in the game, but as a Harry Osborn fan, I'm just kind of like, eh. And as a Venom fan, I'm like, eh. So it just didn't enhance either side for me as a Harry fan or a Venom fan. So I'm just kind of like meh about it. I still think there's a chance to redo it and redeem it in a future game, but whether they do that or not, I don't know. But holy cow! Okay, how'd I miss this one too? Sad I didn't find you soon. You're such a cool and well, that's kind of you to say that, Sky, who is also a big Moon Knight fan. And why? You just did a super chat earlier, a sticker. Why 20? Why more? Like you do not have to do that. Like seriously, I feel like, what do I owe you? Like if I owe you like a drawing or something, like let me know. That's very kind. To $30 is a lot of money to me, and you did not have to do that. So please, Sky, if there's something I can do, write me on Instagram. If you want me to send you some cards or a comic book or something, like let me know what I can do. Because I don't have any member tiers. Like I've never really done anything like that on here. I'm surprised I'm even over 3,000 subscribers on here. Now we're nearing 3,100, which I'm blown away by. And I'm grateful that you guys enjoy this stuff, that you think so highly of me, despite my faults and my, my emotional stuff. It means a lot. So thank you. And let me know if I can do something to for that $20, for the 30 that you gave today. Like, let me know, please. I'm happy to. Wow. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not used. I'm not used to it. So thank you. They only copy and pasted his shots from the game and nothing else. Whoa. Donation jump scare. I know. Holy cow. Like, thank you. Thank you. The only thing it's cool when people just watch my stuff. Like when I see my videos get like, 30, 40, 50 views or 100 views, a couple videos, 1,000, I'm blown away by that. So to do this is above and beyond. It's extra, and it's very kind of you. You do not have to do it, but just know I'm very grateful for it. And if there's something I can do for it besides just make this content, like I don't have a lot, but I'll do what I can. Like, let me know, please. And that goes for anyone like that. But that's very kind of you, Sky. Well, the plot is basically no, want to join me? Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Harry says no, bye. Okay, bye. That's the whole comic. There's no development for anyone. There's nothing changes for like Noel. That didn't affect him in his final battle on Earth against Eddie, and that doesn't affect Harry in his universe against Peter. So why not just, after he bites the head off Craven, why not tell a little story about that, like him dealing with eating a head of a human, and like, hello, just have it take place in his universe. Why did he have to go meet Noel? It's like, I don't know. It's just bad. Just bad. I haven't read it, but I imagine that's how it would go. Yeah. So my 1-minute review of it will go up, as a short, probably tonight or tomorrow. So I'll work on it tonight if I have time. I know after this, I'm going to have to end the show in about 15 minutes because I'm starting to get like, a little tired. So, one of the guys are probably on a Switch. I know Blue's been playing a lot of Fortnite lately, which is cool because I'm like, hey, as long as you record it. And it's funny, he's been calling it Fortnite Springs because Night Springs is the new Alan Wake DLC. So he's been playing as Alan Wake because he got the skin recently. So I'm like, that's cool. Like, that's awesome. So I'm like, just record the footage. Maybe I'll do something with it one day. I don't know, but we'll see. I have Venom 1 at an 8 and Venom 2 at a 7. I feel the first. So your same review as me then. I feel the first did such a good job at capturing Eddie's character. I agree. With his ego, I agree. And his good heart, I agree. The cause of his downfall being himself and blaming on Drake. Exactly. I know. Because he ruined his relationship with Anne, Drake is still a villain in that movie, but Eddie's life got ruined because of his actions. And he kind of takes accountability for that by the end, which I appreciate. And that's what leads him into making a selfless sacrifice, him and Venom at the end. They didn't want to be losers anymore. And I thought that was awesome. It was a cool arc for the character. Agreed. And I didn't feel like there was much of one in the second one. It was more of like separation anxiety where they feel like maybe we could do better apart and then they come back together. That was kind of the arc, which is fine. It worked, but it just wasn't as good as the first one. I agree. It also had a great balance of serious and goofy, which I like, and I feel the second one didn't. And I agree with that. They didn't balance that too well. It looks like the third one's definitely going to balance that for sure. I do like Venom 2 more than most. My only issue is with Carnage symbiote itself being off, which is odd considering that Cletus was perfect. Yeah, I thought they did Cletus really well. The suits and its motivation and things like that were just kind of, yeah, not as, Carnage-y at times. And not doing the eye thing. I think it said we too also, right? At one point. That's the thing, though. The half of me likes it because of how goofy and fast and self-aware it is, and the other is frustrated because we could have had an interesting film with a crew like Circus. I agree. I agree. I thought Circus would have brought a little bit more to that than he did. I'll watch it till I die. Hey, that's cool. Well, hopefully I'll still be making content and videos and stuff. I mean, as long as there's stuff I like and talk about, I will. But who knows? I always open the door. I'm like, I know Blue has his kind of not really shyness. It's not like that. It's just like he's developing, he's figuring out who he is. And Purple is really in that phase right now. But Blue's kind of went through that phase, but even still, like he likes his level, like what he does and interacts with. He's not unhappy. And neither is Green. I feel like I'm really one of the only ones that is unhappy when I am. And I don't feel like I have a reason to be. And I think I have them trying to teach me that. But I still struggle, with it. It's one of those things where they talk about depression, where they say like you could have everything you want and still be depressed. And it's like, yeah, I do feel like that, where there's nothing really bad in my life. Grief happens to all of us. So yeah, I'd much rather not be feeling loss and heartache and hurt and stuff. But that is part of life, and I accept that and I know that. But like besides just like not going out and interacting or dating and stuff, I don't know. Then again, I did a little bit of that in LA. I mean, I did. I've gone on dates in LA and stuff, but since I've been here, not really. I feel like I'm now, especially now, I feel like I'm going through too much. I just don't want to. I don't want to like lay my problems on someone, even casually, like because a date is just simple, but that builds, right? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know why I'm so comfortable sharing myself online with people that already know me, but not like with someone new. I don't know. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress, I guess. Master Mole, mutants are human. It's sad that lesson has been forgotten on both sides. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. New Warrior, Safe Space, and Snowflake. Oh yeah, those characters that are like corporate, terrible cashing in on. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I guess that book that never did get released, did it? Yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about that. Yeah. That writer too, Kibblesmith, I think. I heard his name in something else. He wrote something else recently too, but so I've seen his name around. He's still doing stuff. I think he works in TV and stuff, but I know, that book didn't go anywhere. I agree. Cletus was done greatly, which makes it suck more that Carnage has turned into an abusive relationship when it should have been a perfect bond. Yeah, I agree. I agree to that for sure. Yeah, you're right. They did. I mean, he did a good job as Cletus for sure. I believe that New Warriors run had characters marketed badly for millennials. One of them was named Soap. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Okay. So yeah, Snowflake. And it meant that too, right? There was someone who their powers came from the internet or something. It was like really on the nose. Yeah. Concerning Gambit as death, keep in mind he also never learned Rogue turned Magneto down for him. He died thinking she broke up. I know. So that's again, like that's going to be the thing that maybe warps his mind that, Apocalypse feeds off of. You know what I really hope is I wonder if they're going to go into Gambit's origins. Clearly, Bo and everyone who worked on this show and the people who worked in the previous X-Men show, they've read the comics. They know the history, but not a lot of people read X-Men The End. And that was like Chris Claremont's big, at one point, goodbye to the X-Men, like how he would want to wrap up stories with Bishop and Storm and all these other characters and Forge and stuff that he was working on that he never got a chance to. And it was a big Shi'ar Empire, starts on Earth, ends in space kind of story. And it was cool. It was all right. I mean, it wasn't great, but I liked parts of it. But the biggest thing I liked is they explained Gambit. And they said he was a Mr. Sinister clone that was like imperfect. So he was kind of like Kane was to Spider-Man. And he went off on his own and he ended up in the bayou in Louisiana and developed there and took on the accent. And that's why his eyes look kind of like Mr. Sinister eyes. And they kind of did a little backstory on him there in X-Men The End. And it was very briefly in that book, but I always thought that worked for me. I was like, so in my head canon, that's Gambit's origin. And I just keep waiting for that story to be told in something else. But I guess it never will because I don't think anyone really read X-Men The End or enjoyed it on any level. So But I dug moments of it. I thought some of the moments were good. And I kind of like the artwork too. Well, not all of it, but some of it. New Warriors, those 5 heroes with ridiculous names. Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. That's so you were all talking about this, the right one. X-Men. I hope X-Men 97 will be okay too, which would make it interesting. Nightcrawler had a role in bringing him back to him. That's true. I'd like to see Nightcrawler do that. The only reason I found out is who he is bad behavior to crew, or I don't know. Even if I'm confused. Oh, I see. About Bo. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know what the reason was. I don't know if that's it, or I don't know what it was. So that's why I haven't really commented on it. But I think I heard that, but I don't know if it's true. Same, it's burned in my mind too. Yeah, that's cool. It would be so neat to see May, Dylan, and Normie as a trio of friends. That would be cool because, DC is really good about doing that with legacy characters. Marvel's kind of forces legacy characters in a way, and I never really like that. Like Miles is a natural legacy character, kind of, until they forced him into the 616. But hey, whatever. That's what they did now, and so he's there. So there's your teenager Spider-Man. He could be in high school. He can have all the high school problems that Peter Parker used to have, but with a different spin on it because he's Miles. And he kind of has a different background, different life, different culture, everything. And you can tell adult stories of Peter Parker. Like it's just silly to feel like that they're worried new readers or young people won't pick up the comic and read it because Spider-Man's married. That's such a dumb way to think. Like how many movies are amazing at the box office and feature characters that are older and, but still struggle on stuff and, have lives and everything. Like it doesn't, nothing computes. Like if that's literally the dots you connect to decide what stories your writers are going to tell as an editor, then you really are disconnected from what you should be doing as an editor, in my mind. And that's assuming editors even still do stuff like that. Agreed on writers thinking of married Spider-Man can't be interesting. It speaks on the writer's lack of talent or their interesting stories with them. Yeah, that's the thing is sometimes I think people go, I don't know how to write a married couple. It's like, okay, well then guess what? You can't write Spider-Man, until you figure it out. Or you can try. We'll give you a mini series that ties into an event book and you can try there. Marvel used to have plans, where they would go, like, that's why they were called the House of Ideas. Because they'd be like, hey, this character is not selling well. Okay, well then we can't give him his own book, but maybe let's do a book like Marvel Comics Presents. And we'll have one side will be Wolverine because he sells, and on the other side will be Man-Thing or, Ghost Rider for a little while, or, Cable or something, or Iron Fist, Vengeance. There used to be a plan for things where they're like, all right, we haven't done anything with this character in a while. We'll create new characters, but we'll just do it in this book, and we'll do it over here and plan it. And the right hand would talk to the left hand sometimes. And even though it didn't seem like it on every project, there was an attempt. And what's weirder is back then communication was a phone call, so it's a little bit more direct. Nowadays, people can Zoom, they can DM, they can chat, there's a million ways to communicate and send images instantly now. And yet things still don't get done in a timely manner or efficiently, and it's just wild, but for every book that's late, there is like 30 or 40 books that are on time and that are doing well. So, so I know we always focus on the negative ones sometimes, but there's still a lot of positive stuff out there and books coming out on time, but sometimes corners get cut. And that's where I kind of like, man, challenge yourself, like push a little bit if you can. Agreed on writers thinking, yeah, but that's how I feel I feel the same way you said, PCX. I think if you think he can't be interesting because he's married, that's a you problem and not a comic character problem. It breaks my heart Superman and Lois show is coming to an end. Thanks to James Gunn, Superman movie isn't fair because that show was amazing. Hey, it's amazing, but you know what? A lot of those, it's been more amazing than, in my opinion, than the other CW shows. Because although I liked Arrow and Flash for the first 2 seasons, I didn't like them after that. Supergirl, I liked for the first 2 seasons. I didn't like after that. So to me, I think this show had 3 good seasons. It's going to end on a 4, and it knows it's ending, which means hopefully they'll write an ending. I don't want them to write a cliffhanger. If they write a cliffhanger, I'll be so pissed off because that's on them. That's like Young Justice did that. They get a season 3 and they cliffhanger it. But thank God they got a season 4, but then they cliffhanger that. I'm like, guys, what the hell? Like, just you don't know if you're going to get a season 5. What are you doing? Like, wrap this up. Why are we still not dealing with the dark side thing that you set up at the end of season 2? Why are we 2 seasons later and now you're setting it up for season 5? It's like, come on. So I love Brandon. I love all those guys that worked on that, but I don't know if they'll ever get a season 5. Probably not. And that's a shame because a lot of fans, petitioned and worked really hard to make their voices heard online to get that show brought back. And I know Brandon and those guys worked really hard behind the scenes to get that show brought back. And I just feel like, then bring it back and end it. Like, what the hell, man? So Superman and Lois, I'm glad they at least know they're getting an ending, because hopefully that means they'll write an ending and that this show will feel complete. And I like complete things when it comes to other media. Like the Dark Knight trilogy, it may not be the best to a lot of people, but it has a beginning, middle, and end arc for Bruce Wayne. And that is more than we've gotten in almost anything else in the universes outside of maybe the animated 90s stuff into Batman Beyond and Justice League Unlimited. That kind of had an end where the ending was, okay, we're going back to normal. We'll go back to just fighting bad guys. And it's like, okay, that's cool. That's an ending. John Kent's okay, but whatever happened to the Son of Zod, that Superman adopted. Yeah, the Jeff Johns, Richard Donner thing, that went away. So I don't even think that character exists anymore. The Zod kid thing. Making John bisexual and still keeping him aged up is still garbage. Doesn't do his character justice. I mean, I don't care what sexuality he is. None of that matters to me. He's a new character, so you can do new things with him and do things that you can't do. Like, you can't make Superman all of a sudden bisexual without it being jarring and causing controversy. You could do it. You would get pushback. But Jonathan, I don't feel like it's like, he's a new character. But the aging up thing is like, yeah, like it would have been different if we saw him as a kid and then he becomes a Teen Titan and then, he grows up. And then when he gets to that age of naturally in comics, starts realizing, hey, maybe I am, same with like, was it Tim Drake? They did the same thing, Tim Drake, where is he just gay now or is he bi? I can't remember. But that felt a little jarring because I'm like, well, he dated, spoiler and, like a bunch of other, he's had like a lot of girlfriends. And yeah, you can say, hey, that happens in real life too. People can date the opposite sex in real life and then end up being like, you know what, I think I'm gay. Or they meet someone and it changed, they're like, hey, I actually really like this person and I'm thinking about it, that happens in real life too. Like, so I'm not against any of that stuff. It's just, but the age up thing was just like, felt jarring because I'm like, but I liked him with Damian and the Super Sons. Like, that book is amazing. I just like that book so much that I was like, yeah, well, I mean, they can still be Super Sons, but now one's like 10 years older than the other one. But then again, I don't know. Damian feels like they're just aging him up rapidly and Bruce is staying the same age. Like, I don't know. Dylan, that's the big thing. Dylan is, he feels like he's, even though in the last book they tried to say he's trying to pass for a 21-year-old, and the guy was like, no, there's no way you're 21. I'm like, yeah, there's no way. He's like 10, right? How does he look like 15? Like, so he seems like he's aging really rapidly too. But that could be part of his story. They could reveal because he's like a half symbiote thing that he ages differently. I have no idea. Well, but he just, in the recent books, he looks way older than Bren and Normie, but he was around their age at one point. So they don't really treat him well. Yeah, I guess so. They don't though. Yeah, there you go. You're welcome if you haven't seen it yet. Super Sons movie Super Sons movie is awesome. Yeah, Tevye has seen. Trust me, he's a big Super Sons fan. Any opinion on Marvel? Okay. That'll be the last thing we talk about, and then I'm going to try to catch up on some of the comments. But Marvel vs. Capcom, I'm very excited about. I bought the arcade, not the full stand arcade, but the tabletop one for like $150 back when that came out, and we actually got that for Green because Green actually said he used to go to the arcade sometimes with old us, like in high school with their friends. And sometimes he would play Marvel vs. Capcom. And so he was really excited when the arcade came out. So we got the tabletop version, and he still plays it. It's got the Punisher game on there and all these games. But now that they're doing a console version with the Switch, we only have a Switch Lite, but we may actually buy a Switch now. Maybe at Christmas time if we have the money. We may actually buy a Switch so we can stream our playthroughs of it, because we would all those games, X-Men Children of the Atom, and then the Gems one or whatever, and then X-Men vs. Street Fighter, like, oh my god, playing them on the arcade's been fun, but getting to play them and talk to people and stream it would be amazing. So yeah, and playing as Venom, oh man, I can't wait. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Venom. So yeah, and I'm so happy for Maximilian dude and Justin Wong and FGC people and people who really been pushing this. They, much like we did with Young Justice and stuff, like they had a campaign and like Snyder Cut, like there were people out there going free Marvel vs. Capcom, like free, like set it free, because there was all these like rules where like they couldn't re-release it, and we weren't sure about Disney would let them with Marvel and Capcom and the licensing, and then they were like, okay, we'll do it as this arcade thing. But it turns out all these years there's been a behind the scenes movement of getting it on console again. So it's coming to PC and Steam, PS4 I think as well, which means you can play it on PS5 and then also the Switch. So either I'll upgrade and get a Switch thing, or we'll get the PS4 version and play it on our PS5, which that sounds like it's the cheaper option. So maybe we'll do that. Or maybe we'll get both versions. We'll get it digitally on the PS4 and buy a physical one for the Switch and play it on our off time. Because again, I think Green would like to just sit and play that. And that arcade still works and everything, but he was beating it up pretty good there for a while. So I'm excited. And seeing Maximilian Dude's reaction really made me happy. Like, because I know that guy has been really pushing, and the fact that he was shocked by it. So that means even though he's connected and he has friends at Capcom and friends at Square Enix and stuff, and he still looked genuinely surprised when he saw that news. And to see everyone just kind of flip out was awesome. And I can't wait. Those are some of the best fighting games of all time, still stand up to this day, and I can't wait to see them come out on console. I'm so excited. I was really hoping for Midnight Suns 2. Yeah, I was also, but oh well. If we get a movie, that'll be enough. If we get one Midnight Suns movie and one video game in a lifetime, that's impressive, because we've been obviously Ghost Rider fans through 2 lifetimes and have barely gotten even a Ghost Rider game and a Blade game before. So a couple Blade games, but now we're getting a new Blade game. I'm happy. If we get a Ghost Rider game at some point, I'd be happy. I meant don't. Oh, that's okay. No, I got what you meant though. Swordsman, I did see the Super Sons movie. In fact, it's actually, see, I told you, he's a big fan of Super Sons. All right, this is crazy cope, but I really hope they resurrect Scorn and Venom War. Donnie did her dirty. Yeah, and so did, they're doing a new Ghost Rider book with all the Ghost Riders, but Alejandra won't be there. And I feel like Donnie and them kind of did her dirty too. They killed her during was it King in Black? Or no, it was the Carnage one, where he was going around taking codexes out. And I think that they killed her during that storyline. So I'm like, oh man. So yeah, there's a couple characters got done dirty during that run. Female characters too, no less. But he did bring a version of Anne back from another dimension, which was cool that he did that. But he did erase Eddie's sister. So there's that too. I think Al is a good tool to get ideas flowing. Wait, Al or AI? AI. Fed a story summary. I had to generate ideas for a title. Not sure about using it to finish work though. I mean, does everything have a purpose and a use? Sure. But I still, I don't know. That's a tough area for me, because I don't like pirated content either. Like when someone tells me they burned a movie to and they didn't buy it or anything, like I don't like that either. I like supporting things. Even if I don't have the money, I'll wait for it to go on sale on Comixology and buy it for $3.99, because I feel like I still contributed in some way. Maybe it's not what was deserved, but what I try to do is if I buy it on sale, the next time that person has a book that comes out, like Fareed Karami, I like his artwork a lot. And now when he does a book like an issue of Daredevil, I buy it at full price. And he's doing Black Panther Blood Hunt right now, the miniseries. I'm buying that issue by issue, full price. Because if I meet someone that I really like, and that, especially if I connect with them online, like I had Fareed, like I liked his Venom stuff and during that last Michelini run. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to support this guy. I like his artwork. So, and it's traditional artwork. So like, because I have that mentality, it's hard for me to even agree that AI can be a good tool to get an idea off the ground. I could see it like comedically, like if you're like doing a stream and you're like, oh, let's go into this generator and see what dumb thing it comes up with. And you're doing something funny online with your audience. Maybe I could see something like that. I don't know if I would watch that content, but I could maybe see someone doing that. But to me, I don't know. I'm not like full on against AI, and even AI, this isn't really like true AI of what like Skynet, for example. It's not really aware. This is just like a machine that is just processing information very quickly, like machines do. So to me, it's like, I even struggle with the term sometimes, but I don't know. For me to use completed work, I'm definitely against it on that regard. In the way you're talking about, I don't know. I guess to get an idea generated, for some use that you build off of, maybe. I don't know. But I don't know. It's hard because I guess because I haven't had to use something to help. I say that, but I don't. Like, I guess if I watch a movie and I'm like, oh, that's interesting, it might get a wheels turning. So Yeah, maybe I'm being hypocritical. I don't know. But at least my stance on it right now is I don't like it for artwork and finishing scripts and stuff, or even writing a whole script, unless you're doing it to laugh at it. I guess I can see some value in that. That sucks. Hope Gwen has a nice family. Oh yeah, I know, but she is in a good place, and the guy who rescued her is awesome. He's a very talented dude as well, and he made like pins and stuff. He'd sell them at Golden Apple. Really cool dude. So, and I know he's taken very good care of her. So, the latter story in Venomverse Reborn was just what if the symbiote was fully bored with being part of the symbiote Imperium. Yeah, I know. It was just I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Eddie's Catholicism is literally why he's Venom, so it's annoying. Yeah, so someone brought up the idea on Twitter. I saw this post where they said, oh, they want to see a show told from the perspective of a normal human in the Marvel Universe. And I said, the only way I would watch a show like that, because I think that's a dumb idea, but to make it a more decent idea, I said, I would only watch it if it was MCU Eddie Brock, different actor, Eddie Brock. He's a journalist. He's on the streets of New York. He covered the attack from the Chitauri from Avengers 1. He covered that as a journalist. He covered, stories about a daredevil guy running around the city, or a Spider-Man guy. He covered the Sokovia attacks, from New York perspective, New Yorker's perspective. He covered other stories that happened, like where Scarlet Witch, Westview, that town. He covered that as a journalist. So you just follow him, and then maybe he's working on the Sin Eater story, and he's wondering why other heroes or people aren't getting involved. So he's trying to crack this case and find out who the Sin Eater is. And maybe in this universe, he actually does a good job and helps catch the real Sin Eater. And then you can tell that story, and it's from the point of view of someone on the ground level, but it's still Eddie Brock, so people are invested because they're like, oh, he's part of the Marvel Universe. And then that little sliver from the end of Spider-Man No Way Home can end up, you could have him going to church throughout the series, talking to a priest. Maybe he even sees Matt Murdock there one episode. But then maybe the priest can talk about how he's questioning his faith now that there's demons and gods and everything. But maybe then by the end, the priest is like, well, this just reaffirms that people do need, a place like a church to come to, because the world is elevated to this level. And it just proves that maybe there is a God out there, and maybe it's not the God we thought it was, but there is someone out there watching over us, protecting the ones who are still here, and giving us these heroes, helping them be guided to do the right thing other than the wrong thing. So you can still have that storyline in there that Into the Depths brought up, but then told through Eddie Brock's perspective as a Catholic too. And then at the end, he goes into that church, and there's the sliver there. And then you have Marvel Universe Venom, who is already aware of Spider-Man because the suit from the Venom universe saw Spider-Man on TV and knows to go contact him. So, yeah, and that would explain why the sliver is in New York. So that would be the only reason I would watch that show, or the only way to get me to watch a show about everyday people in the Marvel Universe, because they tried that with DC with that comedy show of People at the Daily Planet, I think, or something, and it wasn't really that good, even though Danny Pudi was in it, but I still didn't like it. Yeah, Venomverse feels pointless. It was. To me, it was super pointless. Written like fan fiction, like bad fan fiction. And no offense, I know the guy who wrote it is a good writer usually, but using that Fortnite footage for an April Fool's joke, leaked footage of Alan Wake 3, trust me, there's no way anyone would buy that. But there is a cool Alan Wake mini game in Fortnite that I did play, but the other stuff that Blue plays, I don't get into. He plays like I've seen it, the footage and stuff, and I played like 1 or 2 games with my nephew, but he likes this game called Prop Hunt and Murder Mystery and Zombie like Horde, which I'm like, dude, if you play that, just pick a skin like Blade or Ghost Rider or Alan Wake, and maybe I can use the footage. But I still haven't. I haven't used any of the footage. I saved it, but I haven't used any of it. B Negative was going to be related to Morbius, so I'm glad it was canceled. Yeah, for sure. That's true. Yeah, B Negative. Yeah. Yeah, Gambit on a Summers brother. I really like that. Finally made Adam X a Summers brother as well. I'd like to see more of him. Yeah, I don't know. I never liked him as a Summers brother. That theory with Gambit, I never really liked that. But him as a Sinister clone, I could see that. But him being his own thing too is also fine. Like, he doesn't have to be connected to anybody. He could just be Gambit. Remy LeBeau. Let there be negative. I'm sick now. Yeah, I remember that meme. Some of those memes. Young Justice Sin sometimes doesn't follow up on the things they set up besides Darkseid. Too concerned with introducing. That's the thing, is they got really bent at it. Like, they were like, they got held up in putting new characters in there, which is fine. I'm like, okay, that's cool. You're doing the Justice League Unlimited thing where you're expanding the world, but you got to wrap up the world as it was before too, on some level. So I think they just went too many new characters. A lot of good ones though, but still just too many. Oh, Tim is just gay. It's as jarring as Iceman. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's like I said, you can naturally have you could write your character to go, you know what, I have dated in the past and I've been with this person, I've been with that person. What makes it muggy is that all the reboots, like New 52 and stuff. So technically that Tim isn't the same Tim as when he was first introduced, who had all those relationships. So so that kind of changes things a little bit. And that's so on the Tim level, that's okay. But the Iceman thing felt very out of nowhere because I'm like, I've read comics where he's literally had a bunch of love interests. So if Bendis would have just done the thing where Iceman said, yeah, I have been with women before, but something in me, I realized something in me is this, and I'm actually gay. Like if it was a natural thing that he just came to that conclusion and realized maybe this whole time I have been, but it was like, oh, I met my past self and he said something that makes me think I was gay all along or whatever. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, I'm not a Bendis fan. I'm just not a fan of his writing. So if in other people's hands, that Iceman thing would have been handled a lot better, I feel. What's weird for me with Jonathan Kent is, to me, it just felt like his boyfriend was being telegraphed as mind controlling him. Maybe that's just, oh, hey, sudden new character, and like, I don't know you. I mean, that could be. I don't know. I didn't read too much of that run because it was Bendis stuff, so I didn't read a lot of that. So I actually can't comment. But yeah. When a lot of times people who write comics too, a lot of them aren't in relationships. Some of them are, like a chunk of them, not a lot of them, I should say, but there's a portion that aren't, or they're jaded. They were in relationships and they're single now, or they got divorced, and I feel like that comes out in their writing, and I'm like, I don't like that. Like, you got to detach yourself. Like, I write about people in love in stories, and I'm not in love. so it's like, but that's what the character's going through. You got to write about it. So to me, I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, writers don't detach themselves from what they write anymore. They try to insert themselves more. And that's a shame. Like, I mean, there's stories I do where I'm like, all right, I'm doing this art book. It's about, OSDD1 or DID and stuff, like, but that's a purpose. I'm setting out to do that. But if I'm writing like Neverland, I'm not putting someone in Neverland with aneurysms or multiple personalities or anything like that. Like, that's not what I'm doing in Neverland. So again, I detach myself from it, so I don't even think I bring up pizza in Neverland, and I love pizza. Seek, do you see that they had Morbius make fun of the Morbin time joke? Yeah. Oh man, I know. Yeah, good times. Yeah, in the video game. Yeah, he did in the video game, Midnight Suns, which was awesome. Max even began his stream by sarcastically saying that Marvel's Capcom was coming for Switch, and yeah, he didn't know because he even pointed out some brand new stuff. Yeah, no, I'm saying like I know he hoped. He's been every time a new Xbox, showcase or Nintendo Direct or a PlayStation whatever like event, he's always like, I hope we get to see something from Capcom, from Marvel's Capcom. So he's always kind of had that. So, but his reaction where he's just like, he's like standing on his seat. He's like, like I can't mimic it because it was genuine. Like, it was real, genuine joy. And people in the chat were thanking him. He's like, dude, like I was just part of the hashtag, and raising my voice on wanting to see this, but I didn't do this. Other people did this, and he just seems like a cool guy. Like, and I loved his excitement, because I've been that excited on stuff before. So yeah, we're definitely going to get Marvel vs. Capcom. We're going to play it the PS5 most likely. Hey, I got to go. We probably won't see this until later. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm way behind on comments, but thank you, Andrew. Thank you everyone who's been in here who might not be here anymore. Like, thank you for being in here, and I appreciate it. We're nearing the end of the comments, close, getting there. I'm going to speed through. But thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sky, for the contributions. Like, again, not necessary, but thank you. Let me know again if there's anything I can do, or if there's something specific you want to see on the show. Like, if you want me to put that $30 specifically towards another box of Moon Knight cards, I think I can only find them digitally now on ePack. So you let me know, whatever it is, but that 100 I want to put towards the dog. But if you want me to do something with that towards something for the show, you can let me know, please. So yeah, justice for Alejandra, man, for sure. She looked so cool. I've liked all the Ghost Riders. The Benjamin Percy run though, I dropped that book. I started to like it, and then it went away, and then it came back, and they did the Helverine thing, which I was like, okay, that's one of the things I don't like about modern comics, where they merge characters like Frank Castle and Ghost Rider and made Cosmic Ghost Rider. So now it's Wolverine and Ghost Rider, and it's Helverine, and I'm like, it kind of has a 70s feel to it, so I'm okay with it overall. But and he looks cool, of course. But but I just kind of like, I don't know, Benjamin Percy lost me on that run, and I liked the Ghost Rider run before with Danny Ketch. That one I was liking a lot more than this one, and this one just it completely lost me. Now the Hood is Ghost Rider and or whatever, and I'm like, whatever, man. I'm over it. I dropped that book, and I'm not really excited for the new Spirits of Vengeance book because, yeah, they brought Vengeance back a while ago and they did nothing with it. Now he's back. He's going to be a villain and he's going to hunt down all the Ghost Riders and try to kill them. But I'm like, yeah, I doubt he's even going to kill one of them. Like, so I don't know. Then again, maybe that's the shocker. Maybe at the end of the first issue, they kill Danny Ketch, which to me seems like the one they would probably kill, which sucks. But if you're not going to write good stories with him anymore, then yeah, just kill him, I guess. But I would be bummed out. But then I would feel less bad about selling my collection, I guess. Oops, didn't mean to say man twice. That's okay. No, I got you. Bye, Andrew. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks for saying bye to him. All right. Ooh, Kroba could be in that Eddie MCU show as a season finale. There you go. Kroba from the -1 issue. That's amazing. Wow, what a reference. That's great. Marvel Universe, but from the perspective of a normal person. Like me, Marvel's been pretty good at doing street-level heroes, which is pretty... Yeah, I'm saying, like, Spider-Man's a normal person. Daredevil's a normal person. Like, so to, Jessica Jones is a pretty normal person. So, so to me, I'm like, yeah, they already do that. So you don't need it. And their supporting cast, like Jessica had Hellcat on her show. So, but yeah, no, the Eddie thing is, I would do the Eddie thing. Oh, you like the Eddie show? Oh, thanks. Yeah, I put that on Twitter and I was like, that's the only reason I'd watch a show from the MCU's ground level, because then you could bring in characters like Ben Urich, which I don't know if he's in the Daredevil universe, he's dead, but then you can use his son, Philip Urich, and he could be a character on the Eddie show. I would put the Slingers in there as background characters. They would pop up from time to time, Cassie and, all of them. So, yeah, so I don't know. Or Iceman could have been bi and only realized later in life, but no, either gay or straight, bi people are myth. Yeah, I mean, and again, the sexuality thing those things don't define people. Like if someone comes up to me and says, hey, I'm gay, I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Like that's a big part of you probably, but that's probably not what defines you. Like how you treat people defines you, how you listen, like how giving you are, how caring you are, how empathetic you are, like how nice you are, how mean you are. Like all these things I think are what are you. And that's how you love. That's a part of you. So when writing characters though, I never make it about that thing. Like I think I have a character in Neverland who's gay. Yeah, I actually too. But Shmi was a character that I naturally felt the way he idolized and admired Hook. I felt like there was an unrequited, unspoken thing. Like he's like, I follow this guy around because he makes me feel like I'm part of this team. And so now Smee in my book lives in a world where there's no Hook. Hook got killed. And so Smee now reflects on those feelings and wonders if there was something more there on his end, not on Hook's end. Hook didn't feel that way towards him. But Hook did keep him around for a reason, maybe just to have a loyal peasant, around or something. But Smee is reflecting on those feelings as an older person now, without Hook around. But I thought that felt natural to him. People might disagree with that, and I don't hit anyone over the head with it in the book, but I just thought that worked for the character and his motivation for why he wants to get back at Peter Pan. And he's become now Peter Pan's Starscream, so he still serves the King of Neverland now, who's Peter Pan, but he has a Starscream approach. Before he was loyal like Soundwave to Hook's Megatron. But now he's like Starscream against Peter Pan's Megatron. So yeah, to me, like those things don't bother me when they do that with characters. It's just how you do it, and then how you deal with it afterwards. And I feel like Iceman, I don't know, he's been in gay relationships since he's come out, but I don't think it's done. Just like some of his straight relationships, it hasn't really changed much or done much for the character, in my opinion. So it didn't, to me, and in the end, it didn't matter whether he was straight or not, because he's still, I don't know, still him. He's still himself, like where he's like mostly better written as a bachelor or a single person a lot of times. Yeah, Jay Nakamura is such a bad character that I don't want to go away. Same goes with Paul, who also sucks. Yeah, for the Spider-Man run. No, 616 Morbius made fun of it. Oh, did it? Oh, I can't remember if I remember that or not. But that's cool that he did. Marvel's Capcom is amazing, and so is their Venom. So I'm glad it's back. Yeah, I love their Venom. There's a statue coming out of their Venom and Spider-Man. I can't remember the company, but I saw an Instagram post about it. So there's a Spider-Man, and he's like, back with his hand like that, and his other hand forward, like he is on the battle screen. And then there's Venom, and he's kneeling back, and the ground is coming up from under him and making the mouth. So yeah, really cool. It was great talking to you as well, Tom. I appreciate it. Same goes with Ben Riley, who also needs to go away. Yeah, I was really divided when they brought him back because they brought him back as a villain. I'm like, no way, not Ben. There's no way. So I haven't really liked a lot what they've done with Ben. But I am going to read the miniseries coming up with Chasm and Kane. I will read that coming up. Despite Ben always going against Eddie for stupid reasons and Dark Web, I don't want Ben to go away. I want the real Ben back. I mean, that's my thing is like either bring the real Ben back, which I hope that's the trajectory he's on, or kill him again, and just be done with it. I love that panel of Ben and Eddie playing video games on the couch. Yeah, that's a good one. From what's that from? Not Secret Invasion. What am I talking about? Planet of Symbiotes. Hey, VCX, you have a good one too. I do hope we get Marvel vs. Capcom 4. That would be amazing. Yeah, maybe this is a precursor to that. This we'll see. If this sells well, they're going to do S&K stuff probably as the next fighting collection. And yeah, maybe we'll get an M vs. K4. That'd be awesome. And hopefully it'll be better than M vs. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which I never even finished playing that because I couldn't stream it. And that was really dumb that they put a block on streaming that game. And it had no X-Men characters in it for the most part. So yeah, we'll see. But all right, so that's it. Thank you guys for the donations. Like, let me go back and did you see that with his £2 that he gave Sky with the $30 that you gave, 10 on a super sticker and 20 on a chat, saying you sad you didn't find me sooner. I'm just happy you found me at all and found us, and I'm grateful. All of you guys. What's really cool is none of you have treated me differently after my world fell apart a couple years ago. After Echo passed, and I tried to self-delete and went and got therapy, and now have been diagnosed and learned all this other stuff going on. I still try to put videos out when I can, and I do my best. And I know I'm really bad at saying I'm going to post something and then like tonight, and then I don't. It's like it's not always up to me, and I'm trying to be generous to my system as they have been generous to me. So if someone says they really want an hour or two of time, I try to do my best to give it to them. And that just means I have less time to edit, or I don't get to finish something, or Blue, like we're doing Moon Knight videos right now. And he's like, I want to come out and watch what you have, because if I don't like it, I want it re-edited, because I want these to be something I like watching. And I don't want to just see our face talking to us. I want to see cutaways and product close-ups and things. And I'm like, I don't have time to film some of that right now. He's like, well, then let me film it. I'll do it, So it's, that's become more of a collaboration when I do Moon Knight stuff than I was expecting. But it's okay. I mean, I welcome it. It's just, I have a lot going on, and you guys have been really great in not treating me different at all. I've had literal friends unfriend me and unfollow me on Instagram when I was having my breakdown, and that hurt, but I understood too, because I'm like, yeah, I'm falling apart. And that was one of the things, them leaving made me kind of become more self-aware of how self-destructive I was getting, and how much I needed to work on myself, and listen to the others, and communicate better with them too. And now we're to the point where we only have, look, just a couple boards over there in the corner. We used to have a whole wall of dry erase boards and cork boards. Now we just have that little corner over there. That's all we need now, because we do a lot of communication internally, and there's been a lot of growth there. But you guys have been awesome of never treating me differently, and that I can't even tell you in words how much that means to me. So thank you, thank you all of you for being here, for watching, whether you've been here all 10 years or whether you just got here. It doesn't matter. You're part of the parasites. You're part of the travelers of the night. You're part of the Spartans. You're part of the daywalkers. You're part of this community. And I'm grateful to have all of you. So thank you very much. You all have a great day too. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Georgie. Thank you, Tevia, VCX, Swordsman, everyone who came in today. Thank you all. All cut up. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good day. You too. Take care. Bye, Seek. We are Venom. Yes, we are Venom. Hopefully everyone here has a good day. I hope so too. Thank you, guys. Awesome to hear you all communicating with each other. It's helped our lives a lot. We're balancing things a little bit better, and we're just going to continue to get better at it. And but But don't worry, we're going to continue to make content for now, and I definitely can't wait to introduce you to our new dog in the next few months when we get one. So thank you guys again for watching, because that led us to getting a $100 deposit that's going to be coming in soon, and that will go towards the dog. If Sky wants his 30 that he gave today to go towards something else, I'm happy to discuss that with you, Sky. Let me know if you want me to put that towards a box of cards to open on here, Moon Knight, whatever. You let me know. You pick the content, and I'll do it. Or if you want me to put it towards the dog, it doesn't matter either way. I have the rest of the money to help with dogs if I need to. But that 100, I don't have anything for the channel to really buy to improve quality right now. So for me, I'm going to use it towards a new pet to help us all out. And I'll make a video where you guys get to meet that new pet. And I got to start thinking of names. Definitely. I'm thinking about a Green Lantern this time, because we did Echo, because I had to tell him everything twice, but he was originally going to be Crypto. And then I did Ace after Ace the Bat Hound, Batman's dog. So I think the next one I gotta think about something else. We got to get on that wavelength. So Sky says, do as you wish. All right, man. We'll figure it out when we get there. I'll wait till it comes in first, and then when it does, we'll discuss it at that point. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it always. We'll see you in the next one. No more live streams for a while, because I think we hit our major milestones. So I won't keep my subscription to StreamYard for now. But I will come back at some point. Gardner? Oh, that's funny. I like Guy Gardner, but he's not my favorite. Abin Sur is actually my favorite Green Lantern. Abin Sur is, but John Stewart is my favorite human Green Lantern. So I don't know. We'll see. Well, but I like the wavelength you're on. That is funny. Depends on his attitude. If he's kind of a jerk dog, he might be a good Guy Gardner. Or Booster. I'm a Booster Gold fan too. So yeah, we'll see. But thank you guys, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. We won't have any more live streams for a little while, but closer to when the movie comes out, we probably will. So I'll get StreamYards again. I'll pay for the subscription again, and we'll probably do live discussion of the movie, our reviews and stuff, and try to get you guys involved, because as always, I like hearing from all of you and your reviews of these Venom movies. So we'll have more live streams later on. But for now, if you want to catch me live, I will be on Twitch at random times. So, but I'll be over there playing Dead Space for the next probably next week or so, if not longer, depending on how fast I can beat it and how much time I have to dedicate to it. So thank you guys again. See you in the future. Peace.